Okay, if councilors could take their seats, please, we will get underway. Good evening. Welcome to the November 20th, 2025 Barnstable Town Council meeting. In accordance with Mass General Law, Section 30A, Section 20, I must inquire whether anyone is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make your presence known. Seeing no one, this meeting is being recorded and televised live via Xfinity Channel 8, Channel 1070, and High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access Channel live stream feed on the town website, the My Barnstable app, and the dedicated Barnstable streaming app. At this point, I'd like to recognize Councilor Lutke. Yes, we do.
Councilors: Bloom.
Yes.
Burdick.
Present.
Clark.
Here.
Crocker.
Here.
Crow.
Here.
Deleuze. Keene.
Here.
Levesque.
Here.
Ludke.
Here.
Penn.
Here.
Steingold.
Here.
Starr.
Here.
Tamish.
Here.
13 yes.
Thank you. And now, Councilor Lutke.
Thank you, President Tamish. We are continuing our 250th birthday celebration of the United States Marine Corps. We had a Marine Corps veteran from the Vietnam era, and we now have one this evening from the Desert Storm era. Some people may have forgotten Desert Storm in 1990. That was our first foray into Iraq. And there should be a few pictures. If we could have those up, we'll take a look at the pictures quickly. Okay, here you see Corporal Scott Carroll. The one that looks like he's in a building, because he is in a building with two other Marines, that's taken in Iraq. That's how he was in the airport region, and after they had secured the airport, he's there with a few Marines, and I'm saying that's kind of a classic picture that all veterans will recognize, is that you just make makeshift do after you've served a long day, and you just try to relax as best you can. And below, he's looking a little bit dirty there because of all the oil fields that were blown up during that conflict. So there he is there. He was really on the leading edge because he'd had some good training. He was out in California, had some really good training. So he was one of the first folks that they sent into Desert Storm. And then there he is in his dress blues, and that's actually taken in Hyannis when he participated in a parade here. So we will now hear a little bit about our veteran, and then he will lead us in the pledge. Corporal Scott Carroll was born and raised in Hyannis. Scott graduated from Barnstable High School, as did his mother and grandmother. His great-grandmother immigrated from Ireland. Scott joined the Marine Corps in 1986. He went to school to become an intelligence analyst. He served at 29 Palms, California, Japan, and the Philippines. He also served in the Gulf War. His grandfather was part of D-Day in World War II and a founder of the VFW in Hyannis. And I will just add a little thing. Both our Marine Corps veterans have lineage from D-Day in World War II, the one that we had earlier in the month and now Scott tonight. Corporal Scott Carroll lives in the village of Hyannis. Let's welcome Scott to lead the town council in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Excuse my hair. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of all who have given their lives in service to the country? Thank you. We will now move into public comment. Please make sure you sign in with your name and village for public comment. Public comment is 3 minutes. Please keep your comments brief and to the point. Written comments are always welcome at council@town.barnstable.ma.us, and they will be distributed to the entire council. If you choose to email an individual counselor, it may not necessarily be distributed to all counselors. I wish to remind everyone that no member of the public may speak without first being recognized by the presiding officer. The public will have an opportunity to speak during the public comment portion of the meeting and during any public hearing on an agenda item. You are free to express your thoughts, opinions, and criticism during public comment. However, your comments should be directed to the council as a body through the presiding officer. You may not speak directly to any individual counselor. You also should not be addressing your comments to anyone else in this room, not to town staff, and not to another member of the audience. Public comment is to be directed to the council. We also ask that members of the public refrain from making audible comments during the meeting unless they have been recognized to speak by the presiding officer. And it looks like Dr. Peters is first. Welcome.
Thank you. Gary Peters from Osterville. As an orthopedic surgeon, I would like to raise and bring to the attention of the council and the general public a safety issue which has arisen over the past 10 days or so. As many of us are already aware, beginning over a week ago, over 100 of the Save Greater Dowses Beach lawn signs were vandalized. To explain a little bit further exactly how that was done, that's important because of the safety issue. Bolt cutters were used to cut the 2 wire supports in the ground very close to ground level, close enough that the remaining wires that are still there are not readily visible. If enough of those wires is still protruding from the ground, then someone walking could easily step on one of those wires and sustain a puncture wound to the foot. Puncture wounds to the sole of the foot are very worrisome. They are very prone to infection. They're difficult to eradicate because of the location of the wound. They oftentimes require surgical treatment. So my reason for bringing this up is I'd like to urge anyone whose sign was damaged to take a very close, careful look at where your sign was located, see if there's any metal protruding from the ground. If possible, remove it. It may even require a pair of pliers because, again, what's remaining is probably very short. But I'm concerned because with the number of signs that were damaged, I'm concerned that it's certainly possible that one or more unfortunate injuries could occur. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
I'd like to say congratulations to all the counselors, new and returning. President Tamish, counselors, my name is Suzanne Conley, and I live in Osterville. This week, you all received a report I wrote on behalf of the group Save Greater Dowses Beach, which I chair, regarding our EMF monitoring project at Covell's Beach, where 2 Vineyard Wind offshore cables came ashore some time ago. I have come before the council many times over the last 3.5 years to explain the reasons for our opposition to the use of our beautiful Nantucket Sound recreational beaches for extra high voltage infrastructure and the related impact on our health and safety. Many of our worries have fallen into the what if category. What if splicing vaults in the parking lot were to smoke, catch fire, or even explode on a summer day at a packed beach? What if the thermal effect from the duct bank cables affects our drinking water delivery system? What if any one of the substations from 3 projects experience catastrophic failure and contaminate the groundwater? What if these cables emit high levels of EMF? If you read our report, and I hope you did, you know that the question of high EMF at Covell's Beach and in residential neighborhoods is officially out of the what if category. It's time to impress upon state officials, in my opinion, and the opinion of our group, that Barnstable has done enough, that so many residents are fed up, that this poorly planned, sited, and permitted infrastructure is unacceptable. And this is true whether or not you support offshore wind farms as a source of renewable energy. The developer has informed town administration of their intention to begin construction at Craigville Beach in the fall of 2026. I have to ask, how can anyone in good conscience still abide by this? The first what if has become reality. With respect to our monitoring project, even if Vineyard Wind, the state, an outside company, or the federal government begins monitoring, we will continue to do so as more turbines come online, and we will return to you this spring with a follow-up report. There are only going to be more turbines operational in the coming months. And as I said in my report, these very, very high values of EMF are only going to increase, and they're far above any level of EMF that was modeled by the developer, or even that was revealed in the testing that the town did. Not the town did, but the report the town received about EMF back in the spring. So I just want to thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience while I sign in. Good evening. My name is Hillary Sandler. I live in West Barnstable. And I was going to ask the town council this evening to please support the safety of our neighbors' pets and property by voting yes on item 2025-056. A yes vote will lower the current 30-mile-per-hour speed limit back down to 25. I live in a thickly settled area, and I feel that the increase in the speed limit on the signage has truly made a detrimental difference in the speed traveled by the folks in our neighborhood. I live on Cedar Street. It's heavily used by runners, walkers, cyclists, dogs, parents with baby strollers who use the sidewalk that's on one side of the street when they can, but many of the activities happen in the street where the cars are. I myself, I actually have to look twice or even 3 times just when I want to go and get my mail. Just because I'm worried about the cars that are zinging along, and I often just have to tuck myself in to make sure that I don't get hit. The new increased speed limit signs were installed. When they were, I called the town to ask why, and I was told the town was complying with regulations and that the 25-mile-per-hour signs were no longer valid and needed to be replaced with 30s. There is a legal mechanism in place, to my understanding, to permit the town to make our roads safer, and I hope you will vote to implement that option. I realize that some people may think, what's the big deal with just, 5 miles per hour? But it does seem to make a difference, because when it was 25, people might go 40. Now that it's 30, they go 50. And we also know that the reaction time decreases as speed increases, and I've definitely noticed that people are often on their cell phones, and this also makes it very dangerous. I think the speed limits can be enforced by our police. Fines and increases in insurance premiums could actually go a long way to encourage people to slow down. The most important thing is really with slower speeds, it makes our streets safer. And I hope the town council would support the safety of its residents and please vote to reduce the speed limits. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Sure.
I'll sign in quickly, sorry. My name is Helly Swartwood, and I live on Main Street in Katuitt. I've lived in the same neighborhood kind of off and on for over 50 years. And we also have a speeding problem that's just remarkable. We're right next to a public beach, Loop Beach, where there are children, there are dogs, there are families. We don't have any sidewalks. We have beautiful antique houses along the road on Main Street that, you know, that people like to drive by and see. It's an old neighborhood, and the cars and trucks are going 50, 60 miles an hour. Sometimes they're double trucks, you know, they're trucks with something attached to them. I don't know what the solution is. I really don't, but I hope that we can at least get the police more involved. They're very aware, they're very respectful when we call, but, you know, it'd be great if we could have a system in place that really made a difference. It's actually ruined our neighborhood. There's not a lot of public beaches. There's not a lot of places for people to go and have recreation. And I have a grandson. I've brought my children up in that neighborhood. I have a 2-year-old grandson, and I'm frightened for him to come to my house because of if he makes one mistake, you know, it's over. And it was a neighborhood I grew up in, and it was a really special place. So I just ask everybody to please continue to do the best they can and try to, you know, think about solutions for this. I do think more police in general would make a difference. I think people should be fined for speeding at that level. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is George Noonan. I'm the adult advisor for the Barnstable Youth Commission and the assistant recreation director for the town. I came here tonight to invite you all and let the people of Barnstable know about an event the Youth Commission is holding on Wednesday night, December 3rd at the Barnstable Adult Community Center. It is our 12th annual substance abuse forum, and we are going to have an event in partnership with Barnstable Police, the DEA, a lot of agencies, and we're going to have the Barnstable Police come and talk to parents and any adult that wants to know about what's going on in public schools when it comes to substance abuse, the devices kids are using, what's going on, how the current laws are enforced. We're also going to have a speaker. His name is Kevin Rosario, who's going to speak about his journey through his life as someone who is in recovery from substance abuse issues and how parents can possibly talk to their kids and try to relate to kids as they're struggling through these issues. So it's a 2-hour event, and we're also going to have the Hidden in Plain Sight trailer that will be there. That's a partnership with the Youth Commission and the Barnstable Police. There for parents to take a tour so they can see what a typical high school or a young kid's room looks like and where they may hide illicit substances and what's out there to help these kids try to, you know, hide some things from their parents. It's a great event, and I think it's really important that we have a good showing to it because, you know, it's really becoming an issue at these schools, whether it either be vaping or marijuana or any sort of illicit substance. It's very important for these kids to keep these kids on the straight and narrow, so that's what we want to try to do. So I have flyers, and I'll leave them over here on the table. And again, if you want to attend, that'd be great. And that was it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Hi, sorry. My name is Dawn. I'm a substance use advocate working with numerous organizations on the Cape and also assisting with the Cape disbursement of the local opioid funds. But most importantly, I'm a mother of a son who I lost to fentanyl on July 6th of 18. I've turned my pain into purpose, hoping and working with so many who feel lost and broken and praying that no parent has to walk in my shoes. I started my advocacy work here in Barnstable 6 years ago by placing the purple ribbons on police cruisers and first responder vehicles as a sign to start a conversation during the month of August, which is Opioid Overdose Awareness Month. Unfortunately, we all know somebody who's struggling. When George asked me to assist in this event by inviting the nonprofit organizations to attend with their knowledge and resources of hope, I gladly accepted in memory of my son Trevor and too many lost to substance use. I'm thankful to share that the following organizations will be in attendance, and we invite you to join us and share this powerful event with family, friends, and on all your social media platforms. Learn to Cope, Hopeful Outreach of Cape Cod, the Barnstable County Sheriff's Department, Yarmouth Substance Awareness Committee, the Cape and Islands District Attorney's Office, the Guiding Light Recovery, One Shared Spirit, Behavioral Health Network, the Yarmouth Police Department, Duffy Healthcare Center, the DEA of Cape Cod, and as a board member of Parents Supporting Parents, which is a local nonprofit organization support group that raises funds, we provide sober living scholarships for those leaving a detox center into a sober living home. We will be in attendance with our impactful traveling memorial of angels. Thank you, stay well, and stay hopeful.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Patty Daly. I live in Katuitt, and I'm here to talk about proposed ordinance 2026-056 regarding speed limits. Regardless of what you may feel about the substance of that ordinance, I have some concerns about how it's written. It seems internally inconsistent to me. The proposed ordinance itself, after a semicolon, says, provided that the town shall do so on a town-wide basis for all thickly settled and business district roads. So that implies to me that this is a mandatory speed limit reduction. But then when you get into the rationale, it says, well, some towns do it town-wide and some towns do it, only in certain designated roadways. My concern is, I understand from the rationale that there was some public process, maybe in Centerville, Osterville, Marston's Mills, but such a conversation has not occurred in Katuitt. And I'd like for the village residents to have an opportunity to discuss and decide where and how they'd like to apply a lowered speed limit. So I'd encourage you not to adopt this tonight as written. I also note that the Barnstable Police Department is not endorsing this. I'm not aware that the DPW has been consulted, and I don't see anything in here that, if this is discretionary, would direct how the DPW might conduct that process of obtaining public input. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
Good evening, councilors and Council President Tamish. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you this evening. First, I want to congratulate all of the re-elected councilors and welcome the new councilors to the dais. My name is Laura Cronin. I'm a resident of Hyannis, and some of you may know that I have different roles. I'm on the Board of Hyannis Fire District Commissioners. I'm on the town's Hyannis Main Street and Waterfront Historic Commission, as well as the recent president of the Greater Hyannis Civic Association. All of these people within these departments and organizations help work towards making this a better place to be, with overlapping goals that impact safety, the environment, and our overall quality of life, not just for Hyannis, but for the town of Barnstable as a whole. It's kind of hard separating them, but tonight I'm going to focus on the Hyannis Civic Association. The Hyannis Civic Association recently refocused its goals, concentrating on safety and the environment and our growing membership and growing our membership. We have changed our monthly meeting format, having speakers and topics that impact our whole community. We have invited town councilors to come and speak at our monthly meetings. November was a great success with Councilors Tamish, Deleuze, Bloom, Lucky, and Councilor Starr was in the audience in attendance. We learned a lot, but a little bit more about each other, where you are, what your precinct is, and about what accomplishments you've made. We got only through half of them, but it was a great list, and we really enjoyed getting that update. We had the residents expressing their concerns respectfully. We have also extended the invitation to the remaining councilors and some of the town departments, and if you haven't heard from us yet, hopefully you will soon. We'll get to know each other a little bit better and understand what you need from us as well. We want to change the past. What's done is done. But we can work together on how we can find solutions or changes that could work towards protecting our residential neighborhoods and manage what is before us today. We know we did this ourselves. We kind of admitted that as saying, where are we now? We could have been more involved, maybe get more of an understanding, and get more participation. And we've encouraged our membership to do that through the committees as well as through in the town council meetings as well. Even if you just come and speak or come in and sit and show their support. We hope this is a new beginning for the Civic Association in town to find common ground for discussing the issues, agree to disagree sometimes, but can work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Good evening, Town Council. My neighbor asked me to come speak tonight, Lauren Forrest, and regards to possibly speeding in the neighborhood and whatever information we can get from the council on some safety issues. I live on it. My name is, correction folks, Barry Pina, 45 Ebenezer Road in Barnstable. And we have a problem with speeding. The road has got a lot more younger children, so she asked me if I would come speak tonight and in favor of any information we can do to try to slow down the process in that area. I've been at Ebenezer Road since '92, so I have seen it change. It's gone from elderly to young and the whole thing, but we have a problem with the speeding area. So if anybody could help us with information and try to correct the problem on Ebenezer Road, anybody can contact me or Lauren Forrest, my neighbor, for that. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Barry.
How you doing today, folks? First of all, congratulations to our new counselors. I live in Hyannis. We wish we had a speeding problem. We have so much new construction going up everywhere that you just cannot get around town. So just for a moment, as you plan the agenda for next year, I'd like to mention a couple of missed opportunities. I think the biggest missed opportunity was the inclusionary zoning ordinance. This was discussed at length by the ad hoc committee on zoning. There's an excellent write-up in their report. If any of you would like the abbreviated version, I'm happy to send it to you. But we would like to see you take up inclusionary zoning and consider moving us off 10% up to something a little closer to 18%. And that's a big range, and that number is up to you. But I think you need to consider it because Hyannis is full. I think the other missed opportunity, there's only 3, I'll be quick. The other missed opportunity is more personal. I live just on the other side of the Rotary. We had something about a fiasco with the Wendy's drive-through. We would like to have no more drive-throughs, please. But in order to accomplish that, we need to downzone West Main Street. Now, this was discussed. It was proposed. I wrote the ordinance, sent it to the president. I think it died in planning somewhere. So if you could resurrect the recommendation to downzone West Main Street, we would greatly appreciate it. And finally, we gave you a citizen petition signed by 250 people from Hyannis, mostly from Hyannis, Centerville, Pittston, to consider the development 32 Pleasant Hill Lane and right across the street, 25 Pleasant Hill. This is an historic area. It is the last remaining wetlands. It contains a property that was once owned by an icon in our community. We ask you to consider or guide us towards a solution, whether it's a purchase of the conservation area, a purchase of the historic Egina Fortis home. We're open to suggestions, but we need you to come back to us and tell us what is realistic and what is the best pathway to success. We petitioned to hear your opinion. We won 8-6, an 8-6 vote. It was the first time in the history of this charter that a citizen petition had merit. First time. But we haven't heard back from anyone for over 2 months. So
Mr. Schwab, your time is up.
Thank you very much. Let me just sign in. If we could hear back from you on that petition, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good night, folks, and best of luck to all of you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joyce Nato, and we've lived...
Joyce, could you pull the mic down a
Yes.
little bit?
Can you hear me
Thank
now?
you. Thank you.
My name is Joyce Nato. We live and have lived on Huckins Neck Road for the past 43 years. Huckins Neck Road, as most of you know, is a 1.5 miles of narrow, winding road, very thickly settled, with no sidewalks. For the first many years that we lived there, the speed limit on Huckins Neck was 25 miles an hour. When they put in the new intersection at Shoot Flying Hill Road, they changed the speed limits, and now when you hit Huckins Neck off Shoot Flying Hill, it's 30 miles an hour. It goes to 25 miles an hour. It goes back to 30 miles an hour. It goes back to 25 miles an hour, and then it goes back to 30 miles an hour before it makes the sharp left turn onto Finney's Lane. From our house, which is one of the 30-mile-an-hour zones, the cars come over a little hill, and we can't see them coming. And if they're going 30 miles an hour, it's very dangerous. It just makes no sense to us. People come onto the road at 30 miles an hour, and nobody slows down. It's 30 miles or 40 miles an hour. I think Tom can tell you, he lives on that street. And it's very dangerous. I really can't understand why they changed it and just didn't put it at 25, so maybe, as this other lady said, people would at least slow down to 30 miles an hour for the length of that road. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's David Jackson. I live in Centerville, right down by Four Seas on Main Street. And I support your reduction in the speed limit, but I'm not sure that goes far enough. If the people commuting through and the tourists in the summer and the occasional long-term citizen would obey the current speed limits and be forced to obey the current speed limits, it would be a lot safer already. And so I'm not sure if the reduction to 25 miles an hour is going to stop the people that are the problem. We have discussed the speeding issue with the police department, and their comments were that, you know, it's too hard to catch these people. That may be true for policemen not wanting to speed their vehicles through densely populated areas, and that may be a very wise decision on their part. But the issue of endangering the local citizens with this speeding and frankly contaminating your environment with the racing engines and so on and so forth is one that we should try to solve, regardless of the fact that maybe the police catching these people is not the right way to go about it. I've lived areas where traffic cams to catch speeders are a solution, and it's one that requires less police presence. It's one that requires that catches the people that are racing in the middle of the night as well as the people that are commuting through in the middle of the day. And it doesn't seem to have, if it's properly executed, it doesn't seem to have a negative impact on people's rights not to be monitored. It's only aimed at catching speeders. So I would like to see the enforcement addressed before we really worry about kind of window dressing of lowering the speed limit everywhere. Because the speed limit in this stretch of Main Street in Centerville is already 25. And that doesn't stop anybody. So thanks for listening to me.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Ronnie Mulligan. I live on White Oak Trail in Centerville. Like many roads on the Cape, it's a small neighborhood. It's a dead-end road. We have people in wheelchairs. We have little children out playing. We have pets out. Could you use the microphone? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. So I live on White Oak Trail, and it's a dead-end road. And we have people in wheelchairs. We have little kids out playing. And the speed limit, 25 miles an hour, is insane. Because if you say 25, they're going to do 35. I think the speed limit should be around 20 miles an hour. I really do. Someone's going to get hurt, and nobody wants that. I mean, it's like when you go down Finney's Lane. They did that whole road over. They didn't put any sidewalks in. So you people see walking in the streets, carrying babies, you know what I mean? And people are in a hurry, and no one drives safely and slowly. So please think about the speed limit, because it could be you, it could be a child, it could be a neighbor. So that's all I'd like to say.
Yeah, and with that, the influx of a lot of young children on the block, and it's a very White Oak Trail, is curvy dead end, but it's wavy coming out of it, so people can't see when they make a turn. So again, if we could get the speed limit, if it's 25 or 20 even, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Good evening, councilors. Sandy Jones from Centerville. I just wanted to piggyback on the gentleman discussing Main Street, Centerville. I water the flowers at the rec center on the fence every other day during the season, and I can tell you the crosswalk sign is hit daily from trucks and vehicles speeding down Main Street, and the speed limit is 25. Good evening, councilors. I ask that the members vote in favor of reducing the speed limit to 25 in thickly settled neighborhoods and business districts throughout Barnstable. There has been discussion regarding whether speed limits will alter speeding patterns. Do we possess sufficient police resources to enforce the limits? Is this request justified? Over 80 cities and towns within the Commonwealth have lowered their speed limits to 25, with Dennis being one of them. The question that I have for you, if you oppose this, have you reached out to the communities that chose to change their speed limits, whether it was the police or the town council or their town leaders, to ask pros and cons for this change? Today I was rerouted to Old Post Road. The posted speed limit is 30 miles an hour, and as you drive down Old Post Road, there's numerous speed bumps along the street. And I can only assume that the cut-through, because it's a cut-through, became hazardous, justifying the installation of these speed bumps. Or was public pressure a reason for this to occur? Finney's Lane, Chute Flying Hill Road, Old Stage Road are dangerous, and they lack proper sidewalks. Many of you heard this at the October 2024 meeting held at the Fire Station. The side streets, including Huckins Neck, Oak Street, Great Marsh Road, are just as dangerous, with drivers exceeding over 40 miles an hour. Again, the absence of sidewalks and center lines puts pedestrians and cyclists at risk. Many have been told the complaints are relatively low to justify the change. And the question that I asked to you, President Tamish, you said this tonight, that if an email is sent to one counselor, it may not be distributed throughout the council. So what I asked the town council, or possibly the town, is that when a complaint comes in for speeding, where does it go? Does it die? Is it sent to the DPW? Is it sent to a town councilor? Is it sent maybe to Director Santos and he does not have an opportunity to respond? My question is there a central area where these complaints can come in, they're vetted, and they're sent off to the appropriate people, and then the actions occur? I received 5 emails, and 3 of them were from citizens that did not receive a response from 2024 and 2025 regarding speeding. And I feel that that's a lost opportunity, and I feel what it does is it really discourages residents from coming forward. So the questions that is my question for you. And secondly, how can we improve this situation if you do not support this measure? Would it make sense to have one central site on the Town of Barnstable website where a resident can file a complaint, they receive something back stating their complaint has been received, and then it's sent off to the correct department to go from there? I know that there has been discussion that if the vote is no tonight, that there may be a citizen's petition regarding the speed limit, and I would support that. I ask you to vote with the other 80 towns to lower the speed limit. Our community relies on you to protect us, and I believe that there may be some sort of common ground that we could come to. I can just say that without the sidewalks, I live on off of Main Street, Centerville. I worked on Oak Street, and my other office was on Marston's Mills, on Main Street, Marston's Mills. I drove Bumps River Road every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. The speeding around Jenkins Cranberry Bog, it's easily over 40 miles an hour. It's extremely dangerous. Oak Street is extremely dangerous. We had a flower stand, and the speed of the cars would knock over the vases filled with water because of it was that strong. So I just ask you to consider this, and please support reducing the speed limit in the thickly settled neighborhoods and the business districts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Caitlin Dumas, and I've been a resident of Centerville since I was 2 years old. I'm blessed enough to have been able to purchase a home in the neighborhood I grew up in, just houses down from the home I grew up in. My parents still live in my childhood home. I have 2 daughters. Their names are Charlotte and Penelope. They're 5 and 7. Charlotte and Penny have been taking walks or rides down my street, Captain Elijah, to my parents' house since the day they were born. And I have been fearful of my children's lives walking down Captain Elijah daily since the day they were born. Captain Elijah is a town, thickly settled road, and the speed limit is 30 miles an hour. As my children have grown and began to travel the street on scooters and bikes and without me at times, my anxiety level has heightened because of the fast speed that cars travel on my road. I've had the privilege of working with a small group of residents after a village meeting regarding speeding was held at COM last year. I had the privilege to work with them. We reviewed research regarding injuries and fatalities, including that serious injury is 2 times higher at a speed limit of 30 miles an hour than that of 25. There's a 70% chance more likelihood of fatality when traveling at 30 rather than 25. Another study showed that the stopping distance is 24 feet more when you're traveling at a speed of 30 as opposed to 25. This distance increases to 79 feet when traveling at 40 miles an hour. That is a huge length and potential harm to the pedestrians on the roads in your neighborhoods. I sense people drive, and we've heard that, people generally drive probably 10 miles an hour more than a posted speed limit, not just 5. The data also shows that being hit by a vehicle at 40 miles an hour results in 1 person surviving out of 10. When the speed limit is lowered to 30, 5 people survive, and lowered to 25, it increases to 9. Additionally, we reviewed that there, and it's been mentioned, over 80 towns and cities in this state have already passed this law. We've talked with the police department. We've talked with the fire department. We've talked with the Department of Public Works. The fire departments have been extremely helpful. I can't say the same for the other departments. We've talked about other concerned citizens, many of whom you've seen and heard here, but a lot of which you don't see here because their lives are so busy and they don't have the chance to come out and speak. All of our lives are too busy and we all need to slow down. Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 90, Section 17C allows cities and towns to reduce the default speed limit from 30 to 25 in thickly settled neighborhoods. Massachusetts allows this local and proactive control for a reason. You represent the residents of your precincts. Your responsibility is to protect them and listen to their needs and work for them. The same residents that are requesting you to make this safe and these are the same residents that are asking you to make the safe and proactive decision to lower the speed limit of thickly settled streets from 30 to 25 miles an hour. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jeff Renard, a resident of Precinct 2, and I'm commenting on item 2025-056, pertaining to reducing the speed limits on our thickly settled roads. First, based on the meetings we've had with town officials, I'd like to provide some clarification on the item. This vote outcome is twofold. A yes vote would result in adoption of decreasing the current default speed limit from 30 to 25 miles per hour for thickly settled roadways. A no vote means that the default speed limit of 30 miles per hour would remain in effect. However, it would also result in eliminating over 95% of the 116 25-mile-an-hour posted roadways through Barnstable, which were not approved and did not result from a traffic engineering survey as per Chapter 90, Section 18. Quoting from this statute, these roads would be in violation, therefore considered illegal and unenforceable. I bring this to the council's attention because town officials have not been able to identify when or why these speed limit changes occurred or who ordered them. Since the community forum held at the Fire Station October 2024, a small group of community members volunteered to examine what other towns have done to improve safety in their communities. The Mass Department of Transportation outlines the best option for increasing the safety of our neighborhoods is through roadway engineering and or re-engineering, such as rotaries, speed bumps, sidewalks. However, these efforts come at a high cost. The next on the list is a reevaluation of roadway speed limits. This approach increases safety at a significantly lower cost. Speed limits throughout Barnstable are inconsistent. There are 116 town roads posted for 25 miles per hour and 219 posted for 30. According to town data compiled by the engineer and IT departments provided to the council, there are only 2 roads legally posted at 25. Town-owned roads like 6th Ave and Quacket Lane are posted incorrectly at 20 and 25 miles per hour, but under statute, the enforceable speed limit is 30. Dozens of narrow roads in residential areas like Chase Street with no center line or sidewalks have a posted statutory speed limit of 30 miles per hour. The inconsistencies in non-statutory posted roads make speed limits confusing for drivers, enforcement difficult, and residential roadways less safe. Over the past year, our group has heard from residents and met with leaders from police, fire, public works, and town management. We solicited information from other Massachusetts towns that made the change from 30 to 25 to understand the effectiveness that they realized. We drove the streets of all precincts to audit the town's database and of the posted speed signs that drivers rely upon and police use to enforce. We came to the same conclusion that 80 other municipalities came to across the state. Changing the default speed limit in our neighborhoods from 30 to 25 will reduce injuries, increase compliance, and help make our towns safer for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear council members and President Tamish, I would like to speak in favor of the reduction of the statutory...
Could you just identify yourself, please?
Oh, Jürgen Craig-Muller, sorry. I forgot that. So I'm in favor of reduction of the statutory speed limit from 30 to 25 miles per hour. I live in Marston's Mills for the last 14 years on a road with no sidewalks, and we have 2 dogs that we walk on a regular basis, and the speed of the cars that were passing us were very concerning for us and my wife and for the dogs. And that's how I got interested in what can be done about the speed. And so I became part of a group who looked a little bit more in detail. And I personally, as a retired physician, would like to sort of focus more on the effects of speed has on pedestrians, people, disabled people, and trying to explain why such a small difference of speed between 30 and 25 miles per hour can make a big difference. When you increase the speed of a car 2 times, the energy of the car increases by 4 times, so it goes up exponentially. And to sum it up again from several resources of Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, AAA, and WHO Global Consensus, severe injury risk goes down from 50% at 30 miles per hour to 32% at 25 miles per hour, which is about a 35% reduction. And fertility risk go down from 20% at 30 miles per hour to 12%, an 8% drop. And both figures are really important for someone who is being hit, and it is a big difference. It makes a big difference. It's sort of like throwing sea stars back in the ocean. It makes a big difference for that sea star. And also, I'd like you to consider that braking distances significantly increase with speed. On a dry road, 25 miles per hour, it's 65 foot braking distance. At 30 miles per hour, it's 90 feet, which is about 38%. And it gets, you have much longer braking distances when you go on a wet street. And more importantly, trucks have even a longer braking distance. In particular, if you look at UPS trucks or FedEx trucks that zoom through our neighborhood, which if it's 25 miles per hour, they are controlled by their company. So question now, real world examples, does it make a difference? So there was a study in Seattle, not on a very long stretch of road, where they just posted 25 miles per hour with no enforcement. The speed dropped by about 10%, and 30% less crashes. And in Boston, they found, importantly, that the speed over 35 miles per hour dropped by about 30%.
Can you wrap it up, Mr. Mon?
Yeah. And therefore, I would ask you to reducing speed limit to 25 miles per hour is a prudent, evidence-based safety measure, the kind of precaution we all take when protecting what matters most. I think you as the council not only have the authority, but also the responsibility to choose the safer path for our community. Please help by passing this moderate common sense proposal so we can part of the more than 80 communities that have done so in Massachusetts. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
President Tamish and Town Council, Kristen, Precinct 2, thank you for allowing me to speak. What if the arguments...
Identify yourself, please.
Kristen. I'm so used to answering, right? What if the arguments for no vote are flawed? I will make that case, and if compelling, please consider voting yes. First argument, there is no problem. The community here tonight believes there is. They want their legitimate concerns to be taken seriously. The October 2024 meeting about speeding was well attended, on par with the Board of Health meeting about offshore wind, or the meeting whereby the council voted to affirm the town's commitment to freedom, justice, and equality, or the planning board meeting about boat trailers and RVs. Point is, attendance shows what residents care about. Road safety and speeding is a top concern. Ask town manager. He will tell you it's the highest complaint received. Just because you haven't heard directly from residents doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Is the council failing to recognize the size and impact of this issue and not properly acting on residents' concerns? Residents want proactive, not reactive governance. Next, data shows people drive the limit. We've heard that often. No one likes to be caught. Is it logical and plausible that drivers see the speed radar and slow down reflexively, thereby skewing the data downward, making it look like there is no problem? Third, enforcement matters, the speed does not. Ideally, BPD would be fully staffed with ample time for enforcement. A working group met with BPD, who clearly supported this item until they didn't. Under their list of cons, they stated this item is driven by political motivations, special interests, and alliances, rather than larger community values and objectives. That is ridiculous. This is driven by safety concerns. Safety is a community value and objective we all share. What about this council? Another con was that enforcing limits damages police-community relations, if anything other than a verbal or written warning is issued. Except those who want more neighborhood safety are part of the community relations that should be of concern, correct? If not, BPD is only concerned with those who are speeding. That logic makes no sense. Next, people drive what is comfortable, so the number is irrelevant. If this were the underlying road safety standard, then why have limits at all? Look at the data. Speed can kill and harm. Life has sped up over the last 20 years. Our roads are certainly busier. Drivers tailgate, honk, pass, even though my speedometer shows I am over the limit. If you haven't experienced this, it's probably because you too are driving over the limit, or you're the one behind me going nuts. Lastly, this is a feel-good item. I think people want to feel good. By good, I mean safe. And if the lower limit makes people feel safer and it produces safety, well, I guess that's a good reason to vote yes. I can't think of a harm that could come from driving 5 miles per hour slower in thickly settled areas. Our active lifestyle is the jewel of the town. Unsafe roadways are an impediment to being able to fully connect to our neighborhoods due to fear of being harmed. We've heard that tonight. Protect our safety and quality of life. Please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Welcome to the new folks. President Tamish, I'm here tonight on the same topic. I have 3 points, 3 comments. Larry Moore is my name from Katuitt. I think that's evident. I've got 3 comments to make. One of them is going to deal with why public comment isn't noticed on the item to be called. The other 2 I've asked Heather Swenson to cover for me if needed. Okay, the issue, I'm going to put this in position here. My first comment deals with suppression of public comment attached to the public comment that's going to be heard, the comment that's going to be heard later. There are 5 items under old business. 2 of them have public comment, 3 of them do not. But public comment is what this is all about. Item 2026-56, that's about public comment, folks. It should be public comment, and it should be, as soon as this is closed, you should move to amend it now. Public comment should be allowed to speak there also. It's not the prerogative. It's not the prerogative of the town attorney to determine whether it's there or not. That's not her job. Their job is for the council to decide what those things are. I'm anticipated in this particular case that that really is a simple issue before you. Kristen sort of zeroed in on it, but there's only 2 questions. You're either going to support or oppose the changes to the speed limits. All the other issues that are raised in the application, the position, whatever, those can be handled later. Those can be handled as the project gets developed. But in this particular case, it's about safety. Anybody that would assert that it's in the best interest of the town to vote no, that's ridiculous. On what basis would you vote no and do it in public? We're all going to be looking at the votes as you cast them. We're going to watch your body language. It's going to be interesting to see how you vote. Now, in favor of their not accepting being requested, I'm not going to get into the authors of this, but I'm going to make one additional point, and that is that about 2 years ago, Mark Ells and I had a nice conversation about the road committee. It was under the Administrative Code, Chapter 241-40. It had disappeared. I asked him why. He gave me reasons that made sense at the time. I recommend right now that you reenact the roads committee. Bring it back to life. I'll be glad to write it. I'll be glad to chair it. I'll be glad to staff it and run it and make it work. That's all I can do. But I think that it's time that all of you, I have no idea what you're going to vote for. But in this particular case, if you don't vote in favor of this, we're going to be wondering why. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Paul Phelan, I live in Barnstable. I was intending to speak at public when you open the agenda item, but I just learned that there won't be any public comment. I'll be brief because everybody else has pretty much mentioned, I think, the important points of this. There's no need to be redundant. 2 things, though, that were not raised that I found out, the first one at a Centerville Civic Association meeting recently. They did a study in Centerville area. We discovered there were 80 accidents on Old Stage Road in the last few years. That's way too many. And I hope reducing the speed limit might slow people down on that, what is now effectively an Autobahn. And that's just one road. I don't want to go through each of you folks drive the same streets I do. You know how crazy it is, how bad the speeding is. The second thing I'd like to raise is last year at a neighborhood barbecue, we decided to try and lower the speed limit. I contacted DPW. I told the steps to take were to get the neighbors to do a petition, send it to the DPW, and they would send a crew down there to do a study, apparently a numbers test first. And they'll send someone out. That's pretty cumbersome, I think. I think we could take care of that right now and make the whole town safer. Thank you very much, all of you.
Paul?
You got everything in? Okay. Hi, guys. Heather Swenson, Centerville. So I think we can all agree that many of our Cape roads were never meant for the amount of traffic they have. Small areas that used to be seasonal are now year-round. Additional housing, apartment complexes, year-round people are being added, and it is significantly increasing daily traffic on our road. So as I have come to all of you many times before to talk about town council members representing their constituents, this tonight is going to be a perfect example. For those of you council members who weren't part of the election cycle, you knew this was coming up. So how many of you met with your constituents leading up to tonight? We heard from one person from Katuitt saying that they did not get any opportunity to speak. Did you put out a notice to those that you represent about this upcoming topic? Did you meet with anyone at a library, town hall, coffee shop to discuss their wishes and their desires? This is not about any one town councilor's personal feelings or beliefs. This topic is about the wishes and desires of your residents of your villages. I have been to the open meeting at the COM Fire Department that's been mentioned. I've been to meetings at the Centerville Civic Association, and I have stood on the Precinct 2's doorsteps talking about this while I was door knocking just in the last few weeks. I know the wishes of Centerville, so I know how at least 3 votes should go tonight. Hopefully the other town councilors have also listened to their constituents as well. Remember, you represent your precinct on a whole, not yourself. I will just add, I'm not saying that we need traffic cameras, but my daughter lives in Riverside, Rhode Island, and in a 5-mile radius of her neighborhood, there are cameras everywhere. I won't exactly tell you how I know, but they do mail you speeding tickets, no questions asked. You just get a nice ticket in the mail telling you that you were doing 26 in a 20, that you were doing 31 in a 25. They just mail you the ticket, no questions asked. So everybody drives around like they're driving in utopia now in that area when you visit my daughter, because lowered speed limits do work, especially when they're enforced. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Seeing none. Lynn, do we have anyone online?
Our first person on Zoom is Ellen Nozzle. Ellen, you may unmute. You have 3 minutes. Muting.
Go ahead, Alan.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, thank you. Ellen Nozzle of Centerville. Good evening, President Tamish and councilors. I speak about the initiative to address the speeding issue in our town. This began with conversations among neighbors who were walking their dogs or getting their mail and hanging on for dear life as the FedEx truck whizzed by. I did my job by filing an application to the DPW in July of 2024 for a 25-mile-an-hour speed zone and appropriate signage on my road. 10 neighbors signed the petition, as was directed. The default speed of 30 miles per hour is dangerously inappropriate for traffic there. Therefore, I rejected an offer for a sign that says 30 miles an hour, thickly settled. That would be inappropriate. Before denying the request to reduce the speed limit, the DPW conducted a 3-day speed study. Although some vehicles were found going 45 miles an hour, the report stated that the prevailing speed is consistent with the statutory speed limit of thickly settled 30 miles an hour. That, sadly, missed the point. Clearly, it is unsafe to go 30 miles an hour on a road that is actually called a trail. It most certainly is not safe for pedestrians, and a walk down the road will tell you anyone that. The solution was to install children warning signs on the road. Children aren't the problem. The sign should warn of reckless adults. The town of Barnstable was not obligated to make such a change in the name of safety on my road by virtue of a statute that creates an arbitrary speed limit throughout the state. It could have, but it chose not to. I could cite instances where limits of 25 miles an hour or less have been made in areas outside of school and business zone.
Ellen, is your husband online in the area of you because you're feeding back on each other?
I'm sorry. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. I could cite instances where limits of 25 miles an hour or less have been made in areas outside of school and business zones. Accepting Section 17C will allow the town to establish and enforce speed limits that are appropriate for the traffic conditions on Barnstable roads, which are far different as a whole from many towns in the Commonwealth. You might say our traffic is legendary. Let us use existing legislation to ensure the safety of our community. Thank you for your kind consideration and all the work that you do.
Thank you.
Next is Ken Nozel. Ken, you have 3 minutes. You may unmute.
Good evening, councilors. I'm assuming you can hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can. Go ahead, Mr. Nussel. Go ahead.
It should be good. Good evening, councilors. My name is Kenneth Nozzle, and I live in Centerville. I wanted to speak about what I believe is one of the easiest common sense decisions on something coming before you for this term. It is item 2026-056, adopting a townwide default speed limit of 25 miles per hour for our residential, thickly settled streets. I live on a street that has no sidewalks, no lines, no curbing, no shoulders. Many residents walk along alone or with their dogs. Children walk to school bus stops. Residents go to the road edge to pick up their mail. Traffic is heavy, especially during summer months. During vacation months, I see many out-of-state cars going down my road, greatly exceeding the state 30-mile-per-hour limit. I should also note there is no posted speed limit sign at all on my road. By adopting a town default of 25 miles per hour and posting a sign would wake people up to slow down. The cost of this action is negligible compared to one of our residents getting hurt or worse. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Next, we have Lisa Nagel. Lisa, you may unmute. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. First, I want to congratulate the new town councilors and also thank both the new town councilors and the returning councilors and the councilors that are no longer serving for the time and the effort that they give to our town of Barnstable. It is important and greatly appreciated. And I'm not going to talk very long because we've had a lot of public comment and I know you all probably want to go home, but there's two things that we have not talked about tonight that are on your agenda that I wanted to mention. And one is you're going to be voting on the property tax levy. And I know it's probably too late for 2026, but I would like the town council to consider the residential exemption. I know that affordable housing is a huge issue, and I think that it would behoove the town council to look at increasing the residential exemption and putting some of the tax burden on second homeowners and investors that are renting homes, and see if we can't support those people that are living on the Cape year round. And secondly, on your agenda tonight, there is a Barnstable Land Trust conservation restriction for parcel in Centerville, and I would like to strongly voice my support for that. It's an area that's been designated a critical habitat, and long-term protection of these kinds of areas is really important. And I really support the town and the council working with Barnstable Land Trust to continue to protect these important areas. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have Walt Mayo, except I don't see him. Oh, yes, there he is. Walt, you may unmute. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, and I won't take the 3 minutes. I'm a resident of Centerville Village, and I live on 92 Phineas Lane. I would like to start off by applauding the initiative of the other residents of Barnstable Town who came together and tried to approach the issue that we all perceived as meaningful through personal experience, but they did so from a very thoughtful, comprehensive, and fact-driven basis. And I think that's exactly what we're looking for within our own community. People getting together and acknowledging a problem, trying to understand the data behind it, and then trying to find a solution that will make sense broadly. I'm coming out strongly in support of the reduction to 25 miles per hour across the thickly settled residential areas. I've submitted a written statement that goes into additional detail around some of the personal experiences that I've had, but suffice it to say that as we all think about the communities in which we live and work and play, a core element is, do we feel safe? And we think about that most often in terms of crime, but fortunately here in Barnstable, for the most part, and because of the good work of our law enforcement, we don't face direct crime issues. What we do face, though, is a sense of insecurity, of not being safe on our own roads. Now, to be clear, that's as a result of the actions of our fellow citizens, and we all own those actions individually. But I think the town should acknowledge that and do everything in its power to make a uniform, sensible, common policy of 25 miles per hour across thickly settled residential areas, and then further do everything they can through both law enforcement and physical structures to get people to slow down. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jake Dewey. Jake, you may unmute. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Town Council, and welcome new members. I just wanted to echo Eric Schwab's comment about inclusionary. It's something I've been pushing for a while, and I hope it's something we'll take up along with possible density bonus for affordable units. And then I also wanted to echo Lisa on the residential exemption. Something that I do think is very important that we shift our tax burden to our seasonal and second homeowners. But I would want you to consider that that is also shifting that tax burden onto our year-round affordable and attainable rental units, particularly single family and condos, that one rent payment is absorbing the entire tax bill. The tax burden is becoming something hard to absorb. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jude. Any further comment? Any further comment in the room? Seeing none, I will close public comment. As is my custom, I acknowledge the emails that have been sent to us, sent to the council. David Cherbuck, in regards to the speed limits. Jean and Vic Viola Sr., speed limits. Carol Field, reduce speeding. Betty Brady, support reducing speed limits. Dr. Peter Ventavega, supporting the speed limits. Lori Coppinger, opposed to the speed limit reduction. Suzanne Conley, regarding, as she mentioned, the report to the council that she sent to us on EMF monitoring. Judy Andrews, in support of lowering speed limits. Amy Whiteside, in support of lower limits. Helen Banasivius, lowering speed limits. Caitlin Stratton, speed limits. Rob Boone, reducing the speed limits, I guess. Carolyn Gravelin, in favor of lowering the speed limits. Henry Gray, in support of reducing the speed limits. I'm just going to go through the Richard Anderson, Marcia Baer, Catherine Barron, Lauren Welsh, Martha Beyer, Jeff Renard, I believe he spoke, Lisa Hendrickson, Sarah Spalding, Nancy Turnbull, all in favor of reducing the speed limits. Stacy Gunther, in regard to reducing the speed limits, and supported the Osterville Playground funding and the Marie Mallow land conservation restriction. So I thank those people for their comments.
And President Tamich, just a point of order.
Yes.
I happen to have my town email up, and we got 3 more comments.
Okay.
One at 5:53 p.m. from Jane Ward in support of the lower speed limits. And then you mentioned, I think, Walt Mayo in support. That came in at 643. And at 644, Laura Lerner in support of lowering speed limits.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any council response to public comment? My left, Council Starr.
Thank you, President Damisch. First of all, I'd like to thank the people who were at the Centerville meeting about speed limits and took the initiative, like Walt Mayo was talking about. He already said it, but just took the initiative and formed a group, put together, facts and worked hard to make this possible. So, if you were part of that group, could you just raise your hand? I know there were. So, thank you. Thank you for doing that for us. I appreciate it.
Okay, any further response? On my left, on my right, Charlie, Councilor Boom.
I'm one of those guys who drives at the speed limit. It wasn't always the case when I was younger, but as soon as I got kids, I started slowing down. And I am always the one that people are honking at, on the highway or on our back roads. I'm always the guy that's holding everybody up, And sometimes they get angry, but I just stay cool as a cucumber because, hey, I'm not going to let that bother me. But we need to do something about the speed limits.
Councilor DeLuce.
Good evening, everybody. I am in support of the lower limits. I have children, I have grandchildren, I have myself. I don't want to get hit. My mother's mailbox has been taken down 3 times. We had to move it. And my sister was walking with her dog, and someone hit and killed her dog, and all I can say is thank God it wasn't her. And I find some of the comments that you folks made absolutely beautiful. You can fix this. Who wants a tragedy waiting to happen? I certainly do not, and I'm in support of lowering that speed limit.
Councilor Lutke.
Yeah, I'll kind of hold my comments on the speed limit until we get to that item. And there were so many, and I agree with Lisa. Beautiful, absolutely beautifully said. I'll address a couple of things. Several people mentioned the speed cameras. I also have been a victim of a speed camera. They are very accurate, and they work very well. And I'm happy to say that Governor Healy did allow that to be considered. Everyone has said, well, that's not legal in Massachusetts. Well, it's in the state legislature. I don't know the status of it, but it's something I will endeavor to figure out what the status of that is, because I think that could be an excellent way to help enforcement. And Suzanne Conley, you'll be happy to hear that Mark Ells has already sent a letter to Secretary Tepper based on your beautiful letter. This is his 3rd strongly worded letter. The first 2 did not get a response, and I think maybe we need to move beyond a strongly worded letter. We've now sent 3 strongly worded letters, and it's time to move beyond that. But thank you to our town manager for reacting very quickly to your beautiful research and informing us of that. And to Mr. Schwab, you're correct. We had that citizens petition. We did find merit with it. And I will tell you that things are happening. There's nothing in public yet, but things are happening on that. And I think the rest of the comments, I don't think we're doing the residential exemption tonight. We've had a couple of comments on that, and I'll have a lot more to say on that when we bring that forward. I think we're in that 5-day period where we had to kind of redo the assessment. So that is not going to be before us tonight. So thank you for those comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Sheingold.
Yes, I'd like to say I reviewed the report provided by Suzanne Conley, and I'd like to say I appreciate that you provided it to us several days before the meeting. And I don't have a problem with citizens as part of an advocacy group going around with handheld meters to test magnetic fields above the onshore cable system. And I don't have a problem with the town bringing the report to the attention of the siting board, which has jurisdiction over the onshore cables, or to other relevant state authorities, as Town Councilor Lutke indicated has been done. And I think that's appropriate. However, I think it's important that the town not give this document, this report, more credibility than it deserves on its merits. While styled as a comprehensive report, the memo does not even mention what is generally accepted as the relevant safety guideline of 2,000 milligauss for magnetic fields, which is considerably higher than the test results indicated in the report. This standard is reflected in siting board decisions, a June 2024 letter from 2 leading state environmental and public health officials, and in the side letter to the host community agreement the town signed with regard to the Park City Wind Project. Now, this is very important for context. The siting board standard goes beyond that and states that due to public concerns regarding magnetic fields, applicants are encouraged to use low-cost measures to minimize magnetic fields, and the applicants provide modeling of magnetic fields based on proposed construction measures. The Save Dowses Beach report addresses whether the measurements taken by Vineyard Wind and the ones its members took are consistent with the modeling results reflected in the siting board's decision. But I see 2 basic inaccuracies in the report. First, the report indicates that other than modeling magnetic fields at the beach, no other modeling was done with regard to the onshore cables. The siting board's decision indicates otherwise. At pages 103 to 107 of the decision, modeling results on the cables under the roads and at the splicing vaults are referenced, with a maximum amount at the splicing vaults modeled at 168 milligauss. Second. Okay. Well, I'll go on from where I was. But if you want me to go back, I can do that as well.
No, just no.
Second, while the modeling done by Vineyard Wind and the beach was done at ground level, people will be lying on the beach, the modeling done under the pavement and at the splicing vaults under the pavement was done at 1 meter above ground. Some of the comparisons are flawed in that they, for example, compare modeling done at 1 meter above ground with tests taken at ground level, which will be higher, or they pertain to splicing vaults and don't compare it to the modeling results of 168 milligauss for splicing vaults, or both. Splicing vaults occur in the parking lot for the beach and about every half a mile or so under the streets. With some results included in the report, there's no indication whether they were measured at ground level or at 1 meter. And there are also issues as to whether the device used were proper and reliably calibrated, as well as whether the measures were properly taken, given that they were not done by unbiased professionals.
Mr. Shangold, I know you're a new counselor, but there's a limit to...
Can I just finish? Yeah. So in conclusion, I don't think that this report raises any serious public health concerns, nor given the shortcomings I've referenced, does it demonstrate excessive magnetic fields relative to the modeling presented to the siting board. I don't take issue with bringing this result to the attention of the relevant state authorities, but we should not give this report more credibility than its merits warrant. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
May I ask?
Vice President.
Through you, Mr. President, may I ask for staff to explain the status of the grant for inclusionary housing, please?
Recognize Jim Kupfer, Director of Planning and Development.
Good evening, everybody. Jim Cupford, Director of Planning and Development. Yes, we were successful in our grant from the state to study the inclusionary housing ordinance. We are drafting and putting out the RFP and scope of work very shortly here, hoping to procure an economist to help us with the analysis. To not only look at increasing that percentage number, but also looking at right-sizing the percentage for the developments that maybe come forward. And what that means is maybe a different percentage for smaller developments, so a tiered approach perhaps. And so we have an economist that's going to be, will be assisting us with that process. Hopefully, at least I'm proposing to the council that once those recommendations are forwarded, we will provide those to the council and hopefully can come to the Zoning and Regulatory Subcommittee for moving along through the council's process.
Good news. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further response to public comment? I have just one. The question of speed cameras, I have done some research on that. Chapter 90L was included in this year's House 1, which is the budget bill. It did not survive the legislative process, but the state, in its infinite wisdom, I believe Heather mentioned getting tickets. In Massachusetts, the legislature, if you were caught by one of these cameras, we could only have 9 of them in town because you can only have 1 per 5,000 residents. And if you were caught, the first violation was a warning. The second violation was $25. The third violation was $25, unless you were more than 25 mile an hour over the speed limit, and then it jumped all the way up to 100. Just as comparison, if you got a ticket from a police officer for speeding at 25 miles over the speed limit, it'd be $255. So and there were a bunch of other things in there. But anyway, it did not pass, but it may one of these days, but I hope they really look at how they have the program structured. Any further comment? Seeing none, we will move on. Town Manager Communications. The town manager supplies a report to the council prior to the meetings, and it is available on the town manager's section of the website, and there's also a video report that's done. The town manager held a fee hearing on Thursday, November 13th, which is, the video is available, and the deadline for public comments is 4 p.m. on Monday, December 15th. As has been mentioned, on November 18th, he sent a letter to the state environmental people regarding the EMF report that was submitted to the town and for review. The town is currently updating its open space and recreation plan. There was a meeting last night, and public comment is still open on that. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, the town of Barnstable is seeking resident applicants to serve a 2-year term on the town of Barnstable's Affordable Housing Growth and Development Trust. As was mentioned previously by George Noonan, the 12th Annual Community Substance Abuse Prevention Forum will be on Wednesday, December 3rd at the Barnstable Adult Community Center. And as always, Kelly Colopy has a great update on water resource management, including the Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan. Any questions for the town manager? Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on. Vice President Clark, would you like to introduce?
With pleasure. Thank you very much, President Tamish. Today we have 2 committee chairs to speak before us. One is a regulatory committee and the other is advisory. First on deck is Board of Health Chair Tom Lee, who has chaired the Board of Health for considerable time. Thank you very much, Tom, for your dedication.
Thank you. Good evening, Town Council President and all the Town Councilor. My name is Tom Lee. I'm from Marston's Mill. And tonight I'm speaking on behalf of the Board of Health as the chair. And we have a 5-member board for the Board of Health. And thank you for the appointment committee. We have excellent members from the Board of Health, and they fully engaged to our discussions as far as all the meetings and related issues. Our main charge in the Board of Health is for the public health and the environmental health protections. And this year, I was fortunate to schedule some site visits to the town's wastewater plant and the Massachusetts testing centers. So we have seen different things that we talk about, so we're physically seeing it. This is very helpful to the doctors on the board. And with the town's sewer projects, we have to deal with the sewer extension request, for connection extensions requests. And we have to look at each one carefully in terms of how we want to weigh in terms of allowing the extensions. And so far, we have issued the 389th order to connect, and the result was 62.4% connected to the public sewer already. There's another 24% is just waiting for the time to connect, whether they sign the contract, and so just waiting for the contract to be available. We have about 13.6%, or about 54 is non-compliance that we have to follow up as why they're not connected to the town sewer. We also work with the WMP ad hoc committee in terms of the nitrogen, dealing with the nitrogen loading reductions effort within the nitrogen sensitive area. With that, we also are responsible to review all the septic system variance requests, and including the IA systems. And lately, we also have to deal a lot in terms of the septic system for the ADU units parcel that they have to come in asking for it. So we have to look at that and see whether they will be applicable to use the IA system or not to reduce the nitrogen loading on the parcel. We are also working with the Barnstable County. There is a compliance manager to go out and check the selling of the tobacco regulations regarding the sale to the minors or the flavored tobacco's products. And it always comes back to the board, and the only thing that we can do is we have to follow the state law in terms of a fine that we have to apply for each violations. The public health has a good part-time public nurse, Margaret Stanton. She provided the weekly Ask the Nurse program at the Barnstable Adult Community Center, and providing immunizations to preschool-aged children, tuberculosis, patient follow-up, and so on. We are considering whether to join the State of Massachusetts Public Health Excellence Grant Program to be administered by the Barnstable County. We have some question about the program. If we are joining that program, the town of Barnstable will be the 13th town joining the program out of the 15 Cape Towns. And the Board of Health is also supported by all the staff that under the public health divisions, and they have done over 3,000 inspections for the restaurants, swimming pools, retail stores. They also do a lot of the percolation tests for the septic systems and the field inspections for the septic system installations and tanning facility, motels, and other facilities. We are fortunate to have our Director of Public Health, Tom McKeon, and all the dedicated staff that we have on the public health working on to protect the public health and the environment for the town of Barnstable. And thank you for the time, and thank you for your service to the town. Good night.
Thank you for yours, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have up Keith Hochstein, who chairs the golf committee for the town. It's an advisory committee.
Yes, good evening. It's my pleasure to speak to you on behalf of the golf committee tonight. I know perhaps some of your constituents might sometimes wonder about the rates that are charged, so I'd like to just briefly explain that, because that's one of our most important jobs to do. We establish the rates at the golf course. We have a $4.6 million budget, and I know you know this, but we're an enterprise account. We have to raise $4.6 million. Not one penny of our program comes from tax dollars. So we work a great deal at our meetings to try to make sure that we balance fairness for all of the citizens who are part of our program with the fact that we also have to raise $4.6 million. We raise money in a wide variety of ways, but the fees that the pass holders pay are a big part of that. One of the other things that we're conscious of is that our finance officer, Mark Milne, has requested that we have in our reserve account half of our budget. So he would like us to have $2.3 million in our reserve account for a variety of reasons. We are moving in that direction, and I believe at present time we have about $1.9 million, and we hope to increase that as we go along. We are an advisory committee. We submit our fee proposals to the town manager, who considers them, and of course he makes the final decision on that. I've been on the golf committee for 8 years now, and I'm happy to report that the town manager has supported us in our suggestion for the fee rates every year. So we appreciate that cooperation. We have a lot of good news in the golf program, and one of them deals with the Hyannis Clubhouse. I'm sure you're all aware that 3 years ago this February was a frigid night on Cape Cod. Unfortunately, some pipes broke in the Hyannis Clubhouse, and by the time they were discovered, the clubhouse was a complete wreck and it was deemed unusable. So for the past 3 years, Chris Canella and Jesse Scheckman, our director of golf, have worked diligently to try to restore this, working with our insurance company to try to wring every dollar out of the insurance settlement. We are happy to report that the clubhouse is opened. The pro shop is clean, it's bright, it's bigger than it used to be, and very importantly, the men's and ladies' rooms are brand new. They were a little vintage, if I can use that expression. They were there since the club opened about 40 years ago. So we have new bathrooms. And also we hope, and Chris Ganella has put out a request for this, we hope to have the restaurant open. He has put out requests, and these are due very soon. We want to make sure that the person we choose has enough time to get licenses, and we hope to have that restaurant opened in the springtime. Some of you may be aware that after a round of golf, many golfers like to engage in a beverage, and we refer to that as the 19th hole. And this is all part of the experience, so we want the experience at the Hyannis and Old Barnstable Fairgrounds golf courses to be as pleasant as possible. The next item I want to talk to you about is recently we have been awarded an Audubon certificate. The Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program for Golf is an environmental education and certification program that helps golf courses protect the environment, preserve the natural heritage of the game of golf, promote environmental sustainability, and gain the recognition for these efforts. James Bentley, who is the Director of Land Management for us, has been spearheading this effort. He and his team have won this award. We are very proud of this. There are only 2 other golf courses on the Cape and the islands who have received this award. And out of the 350 golf courses in the state of Massachusetts, only 17 have gotten this award. Yes. And the things that go into this award are very much things that you have talked about in terms of protection of the land and the water. There was a site assessment where people from the Audubon Society came and visited the course. There is concern for wildlife and habitat management. We have osprey nests. We have wildlife corridors in our golf courses. Chemical use reduction and safety is a big part of this. And I might remind you that about 7 years ago, our town manager gave us a directive that he wanted us to begin using organic fertilizer. We are one of the very, very few. In fact, I believe there are only 2 other golf courses on Cape Cod that do this. This is an environmentally sustainable program. It has required extra money on our part because the organic fertilizer costs more money, and also we need more time to apply all of this. But if you ever visit either one of our courses, they are in absolutely beautiful shape, and as I said to you, they're environmentally sustainable. Water conservation is a big part of this, and outreach and education. So again, we're very proud of this award. We also believe we have a strong relationship with the town, and this is important to us. All of the high schools in the town of Barnstable have their home matches on our golf courses. We have a program that, again, very few other golf courses have, which is called the First Tee program. This provides our youngsters in this town low-cost and no-cost golf instruction, but in addition to teaching children how to putt and chip, it teaches children the values of golf, which are integrity and honesty and respect for your playing partners, and we think they're very important. The Ladies League at Old Barnstable conducts the CUDA breast cancer tournament every single year. They work diligently to get sponsors, and this year they raised over $15,000 that was sent directly to the CUDA cancer facility over here in Hyannis. We also recently held the Turkey Open. People have to arrive with a gift certificate from a local supermarket in order to participate, and we raised $1,400 that was sent to needy organizations in our town. The last thing on this particular area I would just want to talk about is we believe we support the mission of the town of Barnstable that is concerned with the physical, social, and emotional needs of our citizens. Golf is, of course, a physical game, but golf, we believe, provides a home away from home for many, many of our playing partners. We believe that the social interactions that people engage in are very, very important for them, and it affects the quality of their lives and enables them to enjoy the life that all of you want them to have. The last thing I want to talk about is our vision for the future. I mentioned earlier that Mark Milne wants us to have 50% of our budget in our reserve fund, and part of the reason for that is that it enables us to have a cushion to come to you, and our director of golf is going to come to you with his CIP proposals, one of which is to have a golf architect look at our program and design a way to use less water and less fertilizer on our courses. And we're hoping that you will approve, and again, we are an advisory committee, so we're asking for your approval for these kinds of things. We'd be asking for your approval to update our irrigation system at the Hyannis course. That also is 40 years old, and it's going to perhaps, I don't know what would happen to it if we don't do something. And we want to improve the bunkers. I would like to finish by just pointing out to you that last year, 76,000 rounds of golf were played on our courses, 76,000. For those of you that are not golfers, that means a person plays golf and he plays 18 holes. So that happened 76,000 times. Why am I telling you this? 45,000 of that 76,000 was played by our pass holders, which means that 31,000 rounds were played by non-Barnstable citizens. And we believe when you invest in our program and to make it one of the best public golf programs on Cape Cod, it will attract more and more people who come off Cape, and of course, they have to stay in our hotels and they have to eat at our restaurants. And as you are well aware, that generates hotel tax money for us and meal tax money for us. So really, by improving the golf program on both of our courses, there is a return on investment for the town of Barnstable, because more and more people come and they say they want to play at the best program on Cape Cod, and we hope the best program on Cape Cod is Barnstable Golf. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. No, Greg. Captain, if you would.
I don't mean to intimidate with these things, but they're duplicates. I'm just going to point them in different directions.
Okay.
My name is Greg Ketchen from Osterville. I've met many of you in the past. Gordon Starr and I talked about giving you an update of the museum. There's a lot to be proud of, frankly, and we're very proud of it. This is a nonprofit, all run by volunteers, but a very, present company excluded, a very talented group of volunteers. I have a lot of people working for me that are extraordinary. Again, giving of the time freely, veterans, historians, faculty members from colleges. This is not volunteers, sometimes misconstrued as just somebody that's filling in some time. These are dedicated people. It's extraordinary to see what they've done. So I welcome you to come over to the museum at any point. For those that haven't been there in a while, I think you're going to be surprised. For those that haven't been there at all, I think you'll be very surprised. Our limitation is we're in a building that was built 170 years ago, custom cells, very close ties to the Coast Guard. Frankly, we're excited about being there because the history goes back to that time where the Coast Guard predecessor organizations, Lighthouse Service, Life Saving Service, and Revenue Cutter Service, all reported through, either directly or indirectly, through the customs officer here on the Cape, the ones that were those stations and lighthouses that are on the Cape. So we enjoy being that. I mentioned this because our lease is up for renewal this next year, and would be very saddened if we couldn't continue. This has been 22 years. It's been a museum for several decades longer than that, the Treasure Museum, for those who remember. It's a historic structure that has many pros and cons. The biggest con may be it's limited in size. It's a historic register piece, and we can't expand it. And we understand that from the beginning, so we try to rotate exhibits up all the time. It's historic, and thus it fits very nicely with the museum. So all that's fantastic. There's one unveiling I want to do in just a second here that I think is extremely exciting, but just an example of some of the things we're doing. We're getting a lot of national recognition now. We're one of only two museums in the country that celebrate the full spectrum of Coast Guard history. We're not a destination museum, though. We're called a regional museum. People come to the Cape or from New England will come down and see us, but we don't draw people in from Ohio or California necessarily, although visitors go in quite a bit from those destinations. We are we're about to add a third standalone museum in the country. It's a new museum being built in London, Connecticut. $200 million, it's more than we paid for our setup by several orders of magnitude. I left for you all copies of something. If you don't want the little glossy thing, let me know. I'll pick one up. We're kind of short on those. It's called the Long Blue Line. But it leads to my real reason for being here tonight, other than just let you know that, well, I should mention one of the things. I want to thank Dave Anthony and others for helping us out with a problem. Andy Cleburne helped us out, and PJ helped us out from Public Works to get our furnace going again, our boiler. It failed a year ago, almost to the day a year ago, and we've been out without heat now for a long period of time. Somewhat complicated by the fact that it's a historic structure and how it can be incorporated into some code violations that go back 50 years or so had to be resolved with chimney and flues and all that. But we made it through last winter time with a lot of dedication of our people. They're bringing heaters in all the time to make sure the building didn't freeze up. And we just, as of today, believe it or not, we have heat. So there's reason for celebration. The excitement is there are many, many projects we have that we're tackling, but one that I'm particularly excited about, and the timing is perfect, is Massachusetts. For some of you may not realize that Massachusetts is the birthplace of the Coast Guard. It all began in the late 18th century, the late 1700s, as a couple different organizations that eventually merged together to become the Coast Guard. And Ruthie Provost, some of you may know her. She was a state rep from over in Sandwich. Introduced legislation 25 years ago to get a Coast Guard memorial in the State House that recognized the contribution of the service members to the Coast Guard, particularly those that have served locally, and also to recognize it's a birthplace of the Coast Guard. Unfortunately, it didn't come with any funding, and this is a project that's pricey. I mean, $200,000 roughly to do a memorial up there. So we started moving forward about 3 years ago, and as of last week, it's up and mounted, and the dedication is going to be in hopefully in December, which I'm working with the governor's schedule and the admiral's schedule to do the dedication. But it is a major piece of art. It is. I am a little prejudiced, I admit, that this piece of art is the most significant piece of art added to the State House, maybe ever. Certainly, it's the only major contribution. It's a new memorial that's been added to the State House in several decades. So let me show. I got two drawings up here so I can point it in different directions. The artist is a man named Russ Kramer from Mystic, Connecticut. From the magazine I just handed out to you, you can see, first of all, on the cover, it shows the new museum going up in Connecticut. Inside, it talks about making of a masterpiece. And my direction to the artist, once we finally selected, this is the top artist in the country that competed for this, is to kind of make it like Washington crossing the Delaware. We want drama, we want that. This is I'll put it here first, and then show some of the rest of you what it looks like. It is phenomenal in place. We just had it framed last weekend, it was in Fenway Park on the Jumbotron for the Coast Guard Academy football game. Believe it or not, they played football in Fenway Park, but this is up in the Jumbotron there. It's had a lot of publicity, a lot of articles done about it that really recognize it as a major piece of art. It's a legacy piece, not only for the Coast Guard, but for the artist and for the Commonwealth. But I want you to be proud of the fact that it really has originated down here. Ruthie and I and 17 other, many from Cape Cod and Barnstable, moved this forward to get it up there. Statewide support for it, and fundraising has gone statewide too. But we're there fundraising are within a few thousand dollars to get to the $200,000 budget. This is something that we're very excited about. This has taken a lot of effort to get done, but it's something that we want to share with you, and hopefully some of you can get up to the State House to see it with us when it's finally dedicated. Frankly, you can see it now. Unveiling in the middle of December maybe is sort of a misnomer because it's up on the wall now, anyone can see it. We may drape a black piece of felt on it the day before we unveil it, but it's exciting. So that's my thing for tonight, but please come over to the museum when you have a chance. Gordon has been there several times, and certainly some of you others have been there, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised about what's there. Thank you.
Thank you. That's fantastic news on the State House. There's fantastic news on your memorial.
Yeah, it's right. I should add one quick thing. It's right at the entrance to the State House, right outside the Great Hall of Flags. It's in a premier location. Everyone sees it. It'll be viewed by 100,000 people a year, is our estimate. And it's a pretty good estimate because the guards keep track of everyone entering the building. So it's right there in front of them. It's exciting.
If I may, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as the son of a Coast Guard World War II D-Day veteran, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Welcome. Thanks.
I do have a question, Captain Ketch. Is the museum going to be open during the Barnstable Village stroll in the evening?
Fortunately, those aren't the original paintings there I'm dropping. The plan is not. We closed for the season on Veterans Day appropriately. And at this point, the place is torn apart because we're getting ready for next season, doing new exhibits. By the way, I'll add to that new exhibits. One of the new exhibits is this painting. Our whole changing exhibit gallery will be focused on the artist and the production of painting. It's interesting. I'm not a fine art person. I barely recognize fine art, but I can see this is the process. I learned a lot, the process of producing a fine piece of art like this. The painting we'll have over at the museum, the artwork, by the way, is 8 feet by 8 feet, the painting going up in the State House. We're going to have one probably 2 feet by 2 feet, but it'll be a very high quality one at the museum for the next couple of years. So no, that's a long answer to your question. No, we don't think so, unless I go up and unlock it and stand up there for a while. But it's just not really in a position to show off right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to announce that on December 2nd from 6:30 to 7, the students from the MIT Renewable Energy Clinic, and they've done a couple of presentations for us, will be hosting an in-person conversation with youth in Barnstable at the Cordial Eye at 438 Main Street, Hyannis. So it's December 2nd, 6:30 to 7 at the Cordial Eye. If I could have any further communications? Seeing none?
I do have a couple. Just two.
Okay.
Thank you very,
Clark.
thank you very much. The Open Space and Recreation Plan is still open for public comment until next week, November 26th. And I did want to let the community know that Barnstable residents have put together this phenomenal book on the Revolutionary War. It dovetails very nicely with the Kevin Burns series that is running now. They're available for sale for $25 in various places, but locally at the Old Village Store in West Barnstable, which is now open, and at Titcomb Store in Sandwich. They're available for $25, and I have a few here if you'd like. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further communications? Seeing none, could I have a motion, please, to accept the minutes of the November 6, 2025 meeting? Moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on accepting the minutes? Seeing none, that'll be a roll call vote. By the way, because we have a hybrid meeting with one member on Zoom, all votes are roll call votes.
Councilors Bloom,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Crocker,
As I was not a member at the time, I will abstain.
Crow,
Yes.
Deleuze.
I'm not familiar with it. This is my first meeting. So I guess I abstain.
Yeah.
Keen,
Abstain.
Levesque,
Yes.
Ludke,
Yes.
Penn,
Yes.
Steingold,
Abstain.
Starr,
Yes.
Tamish.
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I would like to take a 10-minute break. So we will be back at 8:13.
Do you want this? No, I don't want it. I was going to give it back to him if you didn't want it, but
If councilors could take their seats, please, we will resume.
Did I give you yours, Robert? Did I give you yours then?
Mhm.
Okay, I just want to make sure I don't take more than I have. Or sell more. Got it. Okay, cool. Saves you a trip. Books.
Okay, if we could get back into session. Moving on to old business. Mr. Milne, do you want to discuss, remind people the reason that 2026-050 and 051 are going to be moved?
Yes, thank you, President Tamish, and good evening, councilors. Mark Milne, Director of Finance. Although we have not received our preliminary certification for the FY 2026 values yet from the Department of Revenue, they have given us permission to post the proposed values on our website in accordance to meet their 5-day public disclosure requirements. So that has been done. We received that on Tuesday. Yesterday was the first day we put those proposed values up, so they're available in a PDF document as well as an Excel file. Makes it easily searchable for anyone who wants to see what their proposed values are for next fiscal year. Any day now, we're just waiting for their a preliminary certification of those values. We should have it shortly since they gave us a permission to post them. And we can't take these votes until we receive that preliminary certification. So we'll have to move these to your next agenda. Be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Did anyone have any questions for Mark? Seeing none, if I could have a motion, please, to move 2026-050 and 2026-051 for individual public hearings. Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so we will move. Could I have a motion, please, just to move 2026-050 to December 4th for a public hearing?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilors, Burdick,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Crocker,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Deleuze, Keene,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Ludke,
Yes.
Penn,
Yes.
Scheingold,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Tamish,
Yes.
Bloom,
Yes.
13 yes.
Thank you. Could I have a motion likewise to move 2026-051 to December 4th?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilors, Clark,
Yes.
Crocker,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Deleuze,
Yes.
Keene,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Ludke,
Yes.
Penn,
Yes.
Scheingold,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Tamish,
Yes.
Bloom,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
13 yes.
Thank you. Motion does pass. Councilor Burdick, could you read in 2026-053, please?
Certainly. 053. All right, this is an item of old business and may be acted upon by majority vote. Item 2026-053, appointments to a board, committee, and commission as written.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? On my left? Seeing none, on my right? Seeing none. Okay. Madam Clerk, we have a vote, please.
Councilors, Crocker,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Deleuze,
Abstain.
Keene,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Ludke,
Yes.
Penn, Yes. Scheingold.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Tamish.
Yes.
Bloom.
Yes.
Burdick.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
12 yes. One
Okay, the
abstain.
motion does pass. Counselor Scheingold, are you comfortable reading in the next one, or would you like to have me?
Okay, so the next one is
055.
2026-055, appropriation order in the amount of $600,000 in community preservation funds for the purpose of the town acquiring a conservation restriction of 13 plus or minus acre property located at 3640 Falmouth Road in Marston's Mills.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. This is a public hearing. What I will be doing tonight is, because we have a hybrid meeting, I will open the public hearing without a vote unless any counselor requests that the public hearing be opened via a vote. At this point, I would recognize Lindsay Council, Chairman of the CPC, for the rationale.
Thank you, Council President Tamish, and welcome to the new councilors for their beginning of their terms. At the June 2nd, 2025 Community Preservation Committee meeting, the 7 members present voted unanimously to recommend to the Town Council, through the Town Manager, Barnstable Land Trust, the BLT's, application for $600,000 in open space and recreation community preservation funds to preserve under a CR to be held by the town an undeveloped 13-acre property located at 3640 Falmouth Road in Marston's Mills. The property includes undeveloped land and part of the mill pond and is shown as Assessors Map 058, Parcel 012. Under the conservation restriction that will be granted to the town by the BLT, the property will be preserved in perpetuity for open space, conservation, and passive recreation purposes, including public access, and it will allow for rights to undertake activities on the property in connection with the potential restoration of the mill pond. With us tonight is Janet Milkman, BLT Executive Director, to go over the project.
Thank you, Lindsay. Greetings to all of you. Lynn, I think we have a few slides. Yeah.
Janet, would you just identify yourself for the record?
Janet Milkman, Executive Director of the Barnstable Land Trust. This is another really great project we're excited to bring to you, and appreciative of the support of the Community Preservation Committee. So this is the beauty shot. Well, it was. Great. This is a drone shot. What you're looking at is a mill pond at the intersection of 149 and 28, where there's a herring run, and it's leads into the Marston's Mills River, where the herring go up all the way up to where they spawn in Middle Pond. The area on the left, on the west side of the pond, is what we're talking about. And if you go to the next slide, I don't know if you can go to the one on top, Lynn? Oh, okay. Sarah, if you could go to the one with the pink, yeah. Okay. I'm feeling like I didn't put these in the right format for you, so I apologize. But the slide on top shows you where the parcel is, and it's outlined in red. The last remaining undeveloped land on Mill Pond, and connected to hundreds of acres of town land and water district land, much of which has trails in it, which will connect to trails in the new parcel, in the 13 acres. There will be public access to those trails. There will be parking there. If you go to the next slide, yeah, that's great. That just shows this project is entirely in what the state certifies as habitat of rare species, and buffer for rare species habitat, and there are rare species in the mill pond itself. And if you go to the next slide down, you'll see that it also is, yeah, great, thank you. Half of it is in the wellhead protection zone for the Calm Water District. So this is a really important project for us, one we've had our eye on for a long time, and the town as well, because of the interest in doing restoration work on Mill Pond, which would be possible with this purchase. And it was a total purchase price of $1.2 million, half of which will come from CPA funds and provide a match for a $425,000 state conservation partnership grant, and then the rest from private fundraising. So the CPA funding are leveraging 100% match. And I think that's all I will tell you about, unless you have questions.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone from the public that would like to be heard on this matter? Seeing no one, is there anyone online, Lynn? Seeing no one? All right, I will open up for discussion. Councilor Levac.
I had a question. Oh. Okay, my question is, so the town is going to take on the conservation restriction. What do we do with that? What obligations do we have? Do we have to do inspections once a year? Do we have a long list of those that conservation visits regularly?
For conservation restrictions, generally they're monitored every couple of years. It can be more on this site because we'll be so active on it. It won't be necessary, I don't think.
Okay, yeah, I'm asking you a question that's actually a town, looking for a town answer. So, but is there, but I'll find the answer out. So is this piece of land possibly going to be used for dredge spoil or a way to access the pond?
Yes, access and temporary storage.
Temporary storage for dredge spoil to dewater it maybe or something? Okay.
Yeah.
And then it'll be put back the way it was?
Yes.
Hopefully. Thank you. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. Councilor Levac.
Mill Pond, the dredging of Mill Pond was actually the first thing I ever read into the record in 2017. And we're still waiting for that permit process to go through, which would increase flow for Marston's Mills and hopefully help to clean up Prince Cove. That's the point of that. So with that moving on, I'm in favor of this project, be able to give that access, keep the CR so that it is town controlled. The parking, as far as are you saying that the parking that's basically what's accessing the old Sprinkle property, right? And that's what borders that property? Is that how that's going to work?
No,
Okay.
that's really probably would be too dangerous. The Sprinkle property is
sloping.
Is on 28. But there is off Old Post Road, there's a large existing parking area. We may have to enlarge that. We haven't explored all of the
You're all set. Thank you.
All right, roll them.
Okay. Yeah, so to be determined, but it will not be off 28. It will be off Old Post Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which would actually hopefully bring more access to the rest of the property as well that
Exactly.
abuts it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I would definitely be in favor of the access and that getting pursued, because I know a lot of people who are excited about that fact, that be able to be able to walk along the pond area in that area. So, again, in favor of this project. I think it's great, and thank you for pursuing the grants and the partnerships as well, because I think always that works well. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? Discussion on my right? Well, seeing none. Thank you, Janet, and I will also formally close the public hearing at this point. We will move to a vote. Madam Clerk?
Councilors Crow,
Yes.
Deluse,
Yes.
Keen,
Yes.
Levesque.
Yes.
Ludke.
Yes.
Penn,
Yes.
Scheingold,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Tamish,
Yes.
Bloom,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Crocker,
Yes.
13 yes.
Thank you. The motion does pass.
Thank you.
Thank you. A pair of glasses were found out in the room here. I don't know if it's anyone that's still here or someone that may have left, but we have them. Okay, moving forward. Councilor Lutke, if you could read in 2026-056, please.
Yes. This is old business. It may be acted upon by a majority vote. Item 2026-056, order accepting the provisions of Section 17C of Chapter 90 of the Massachusetts General Laws.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Councilor Lutke, will you be doing the rationale, I guess?
I can. I am a co-sponsor with Councilor Turkelson, and since she is no longer on the council, I will speak on behalf of this. We had a lot of public comment. I'll just read what is written here for the benefit of the public. There's not a public hearing, and then we can open it up to discussion. And we had, again, a lot of public comment, both in the room and certainly a lot of correspondence. So the background on this, we've heard a little bit tonight. It's on October 28th, 2024, community forum was held at the Centerville, Osterville, Marston's Mills Fire Station to allow the community to voice their concerns about roadway safety and their neighborhoods and streets. The meeting was well attended by an estimated 40 to 50 residents who asked for constructive changes to increase road safety and safeguard their quality of life. Barnstable residents consistently report feeling unsafe walking, biking, running along residential roadways with their children and pets. These concerns have been voiced to the Barnstable Police Department, town councilors, and other town employees. This is not a new complaint or issue. A small group of community volunteers met over the last year gathering information and collecting data. Their work focused on the safety outcomes of the reduction in speed on residential roadways, which included, for 25-mile-per-hour crashes, an estimated 30% of pedestrians suffer severe injuries and about 12% die. And for 30-mile-per-hour crashes, approximately 47% of pedestrians suffer severe injuries and 20% die. And this is from the 2011 AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety Report. Crashes involving pedestrians are 70% more likely to be fatal if the vehicle involved is traveling at 30 miles per hour versus 25 miles per hour. And the source on that is the Morgan Matarum Chicago Pedestrian Traffic Safety Committee Director. And number 3, they said in Albany, New York, they lowered their speed limit to 25 miles per hour effective January 1st, 2025, and the number of crashes dropped 29% from the same time frame in 2024. And that is from the WAMC Northeast Public Radio Northeast report published on May 7th, 2025. That's the background, and we heard a lot of that from our public commenters, and Councilor Starr asked people to raise their hands, those that had been involved in it. And I'm hoping the new councilors were given this information. I know the old councilors, we were all provided this by email. There was an incredible amount of work. Thank you. I see that Councilor Crocker is nodding that he did see that. Okay, here's the rationale. This item asks for the Town Council to accept the provisions of Section 17C of Chapter 90 of the Massachusetts General Laws to allow the town to reduce the default statutory speed limit from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour on any town-owned roads in thickly settled or business districts to safeguard our residents and visitors. The proposed vote further specifies that this would be implemented on a town-wide basis on all roads in such districts. Accepting this provision of the general laws allows cities and towns to reduce the speed limit to 25 miles per hour on any non-state roadway within thickly settled or business district without having to undertake engineering studies, streamlining the process. A thickly settled or business district is defined by state law as the territory contiguous in any way to which is built up with structures devoted to business, or the territory contiguous to any way where the dwelling houses are situated at such distances as will average less than 200 feet between them for a distance of a quarter of a mile or over. And just continuing here, municipalities can either implement the lower speed limit town-wide, which is what we're proposing here, on all non-state roads within a thickly settled or business district, or it can choose specific roads in those districts to which the lower speed limit would apply. New signage would be needed. If the lower speed limit is implemented town-wide, new signs would only be required at the town's jurisdictional boundaries. If not implemented, on a town-wide basis, individual street signs would be needed. If the town opts in, the new speed limit would only apply to streets that are currently governed by statutory speed limit. If an existing special speed limit is in place, that special speed limit would continue to govern. Over 40 municipalities across Massachusetts, including Dennis and Worcester, have already adopted the measure, some on town or citywide basis, and some through the designation of specific streets. Local fire chiefs support the adoption of MGL section or Chapter 90, Section 17C. See attached letters from the Barnstable Fire Department and the Centerville, Osterville, Marston Mills Fire Department. And finally, there's a fiscal impact. Approval of this action will require the Department of Public Works to install approximately 200 signs at an estimated cost of $200 per sign for a total of $40,000. This cost was not included in the approved fiscal year 2026 operating budget. If approved, a supplemental budget appropriation order will be brought forward for the Town Council's approval, with the funding source being the general fund reserves, which were last certified at $36.2 million as of July 1st, 2025. And the town manager recommendation, Mark Ells, town manager, supports council consideration of this item.
Thank you. Okay. Been moved and seconded. The rationale's been given. Is there any discussion on this item? Councilor Ledke.
I mean, I can start out because I am a co-sponsor of it and happily a co-sponsor. I think if you read the material, and this is from Worcester, and it sounds like you all got it. If you really look at those slides, it's incredible the presentation that Worcester did for this, the data that's in there, and how they've successfully implemented the program. And to that point, today I spoke to a police officer from Worcester who'd been involved with this from the beginning. And I asked him his opinions as to the efficacy of it and how it's worked for Worcester. And he started out by saying that the crashes and the injuries are remarkably lower than they were prior. That's how he started the conversation. So I was impressed with that. And then he talked about how they went about in enforcing it and educating. And he said education is a huge piece of this. And if you look at the Worcester pieces, they did a great program with that. They even had yard signs that they gave out to their residents to put around the town, which I thought was a nice touch, that talked about it. And they enacted it citywide. So they put the signs at the edges of the city. And he said at first it was a little challenging. They gave out a lot of warnings. They did a lot of education, as I mentioned. And then the enforcement's gone pretty well. He said that he would rate the program, he gave it a 50-50. So 50% positive, 50% negative. And his negatives were that he thought, well, I shouldn't say the word thought. He said, again, education, you really have to do a lot of it. And he said there was a lot of frustration on the part of drivers, and we've heard that tonight with people honking at Councillor Bloom. There was, he said frustration is a real point, that people want to get where they want to go, but, you know, so be it. That's happening right now. And the other thing was, of course, enforcement, and I know that Chief Chalice has written a letter on that. But what I took away from him was, again, what he led with when we had, and I called the Worcester Police Department and identified who I was, and I asked for a call back, so I didn't try to influence the process at all. And he called me back, and he was just very sincere in this. And, you know, Worcester's a big city, but we're a city too. And he also, and this was interesting, at the end of the conversation, he said, well, I just bought a house in Dennis. And I said, well, Dennis is another one of the towns that has it town-wide. And again, to Chief Chalice's beautiful letter that she wrote, she talked about it, and we've heard it tonight. Engineering is always the best solution. Of course it is, but it's very expensive. And he says, you know, those roads in Dennis are very wide. And he said that could be an issue because a lot of ours in Worcester are narrow. And we do have some wide roads. We have a lot of roads without marks on them. So again, but what he led with, you know, $40,000 is nothing compared to saving a life. It's absolutely nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. And we've heard such powerful testimony from our residents, and here I'll do it again, the pyramid. The residents are always at the top. And regardless of my own opinion on this, I could see it either way because, again, we've had, comments from Chief Chalice, comments from the police officer in Worcester I spoke to. But when you take it all into consideration, yes, we should do it. And again, because the police officer in Worcester talked about the education component, it would force us to talk about this. It's a huge issue for our residents, and we'd get out there. And I just have a vision of Kelly Colopy because she is so good. If she was given this program to run with, to come out with some yard signs and to put together a program, I know she's busy with a million things, but she has that sense about her to put together programs that really resonate with our residents. And I think this could be a win. The enforcement issue, we're having a tough time now. We'll have a tough time going forward. But
Councillor Lutke, can you wrap it up, please?
Yes, I'll wrap it up. So those are my comments. I'm absolutely in support, having looked at all the material and spoken to various folks. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Penn.
Yes, thank you, President Tamish. Obviously, there's overwhelming support from the public on everything that I read and heard tonight. What I don't understand is, though, if drivers speed now with 30-mile-an-hour posted speed limits, how will changing signs to 25 miles an hour going to stop them from speeding? I just don't get that. I've been driving for a long time. I was one of those kids who drove long before I was supposed to, so I'm guilty as charged, all right? I heard what Patty Daly said tonight during public comment, and I was wondering if anybody from the town had a comment in response to what she mentioned. You know, Patty's not just a resident of Cotuit. She worked for the town of Barnstable in growth management, which is our current planning and development office, for a very long time. She's an attorney. After she left the town, she went over to the Cape Cod Commission. I think she has a keen eye, and she had some very opportune suggestions for improving this so that it wasn't ambiguous in any way. So if somebody has a comment about that, I'd like to hear their solution to that, or perhaps there are amendments we could make this evening. Or in the future. So to me, the issue is enforcement, not lowering speed limits, but that's just me. I will support this just because there's overwhelming intent from the public to have a safer community, and public safety to me is very important. But I do want to say we're not anything like Worcester. Come on. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment? Council Starr.
Thank you. Is there a map been developed of the thickly settled areas of town? I mean, do we know which roads are going to be labeled? I'm thinking of streets like West Main Street that's got businesses on it. Is that going to be 25 miles an hour?
A business district would be, again, the definite, well, I probably shouldn't get into that. The definition is in the rationale there, any less than 200 feet on average over a quarter of a mile.
Does that both sides of the road?
I don't think it requires both sides of the road, no.
I don't know, it doesn't say.
Well, damn it, that's...
So has anybody figured out where these roads are? That's my question.
Well, let's...
You can't do that.
All right, Councilor Turkelson, I would recognize you as one of the original sponsors of this.
I'm sure DPW could also come up and answer. We worked with GIS mapping, so as was mentioned, we drove every town-owned road. The three people here, myself and the two gentlemen, drove every road and mapped every sign that was thickly settled. Cross-checked that. Also, we had a resident intern this summer who double-checked our work and used Google Earth and did some further checking. That information was sent to all of you in an email. There's a map that's there that shows all the roads. So it has been mapped. There's probably still some work to be done, but that's part of the problem, is our database is not accurate. The information on the road doesn't match the database doesn't match the road, we're missing signs, we have too many signs. So, you know, as the best information we have right now is what's in that presentation from EdZoo.
Okay, but to Councilor Starr's
Do I have a list of
question,
them?
There is no listing of streets
Just a
or roads
pictorial
that are
map.
considered thickly settled per se.
I could have had GIS do that, but I wasn't a counselor anymore, so don't have access to that information.
Okay.
But I'm sure that Alicia from GIS could produce that for you fairly easily.
Okay.
Councilor Keene?
So, you know, I think all of us recognize that speed is a real issue. And I'm very sympathetic to the argument that what we need to do, the best solution is an engineering solution. We should do traffic calming and maybe speed bumps and have sidewalks everywhere. But I'm also very aware that that's going to take a lot of money and a lot of years to get done. And I certainly hope we could embark upon that. But meanwhile, we have this proposal before us. I'm also sympathetic to the argument that, well, just because you post a lower speed limit doesn't mean people won't continue to speed. And that's true. It is really true that, you know, we have 30 now and people are going 40. But I think there's two things I would point to. One is that the experience of other municipalities that have adopted it has shown that empirically you do get a reduction in speed. And I think that probably is sort of a little psychological thing with drivers, which is, you know, we may speed, I of course don't, but we may speed, but we won't go over, say, 10 miles over the speed limit. So if the speed limit's 30, you'll go 40. If it's 25, you may go 35. And I think that this measure ultimately would have a positive impact, and I think it's worth trying, and I intend to support it.
Thank you. Vice President Clark.
Thank you very much, President Tamish. I do congratulate former Town Councilor Turkelson, whom I consider a friend, for her robust attention to this community concern, because it is concerning, and I've heard from constituents in my precinct as well. And I applaud all the residents for their strong advocacy in person, online, and on the telephone. But I'm concerned that signage is not effective enough. And I did hear with interest Attorney Patty Daly's concern that this is not not worded well enough. I also heard with interest the effectiveness of cameras in the state of Connecticut. And I understand that there is that 50% of our roads in our town are private. So I'm wondering if it's worth proposing an ad hoc study committee to refine the strategy, get the language a little tighter with a strategy similar to what the ad hoc committee did for zoning, and come up with some recommendations that might be a little more pointed and effective. Thank you, Attorney Nober. Through you, President Tamish.
Attorney Nober?
Thank you, President Tamish. Karen Ober, Town Attorney. I just wanted to address, I think, what Ms. Daly's concern was. You have the option to implement this town-wide. That's what Councilor Turkelson had asked for. That's why it's drafted that way. If you didn't do it town-wide, you would have to list every road that it would apply to. So those are the options. And the vote is drafted clearly, I think, for the town-wide option. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Burdick?
If we were to not do it townwide, but do it road by road, that would all have that vote would have to occur all at once, or would that be an ongoing process? Could it be done piece by piece? Do you know what I mean? As opposed to doing it in a blanket, could you say, after a period of study, so you know what I mean? You could say this week we shall do this roadway, and this week we shall do this roadway.
Yeah, the vote would have to list whatever roads. You're adopting these provisions of the law for specific roads. So you could take multiple votes.
Right, and they would each occur as individual votes, and they would be at a meeting, and it wouldn't be.
Correct.
So you can't adopt the language has to be specific. You're adopting this language for a road. It's not that the town of Barnstable.
Well, it's for a road in a thickly settled district.
That's what, yeah.
And the way that it's written now, it's a thickly settled or business district, because that is one definition. So we had talked about this when we were drafting this. If you wanted to do just the thickly settled roads and exclude the roads in the business district, then you would have to list every road. So that's not what we were asked to prepare. We were asked to prepare this on a town-wide basis, and that's what we did.
Thank you.
But you do have other options.
Right, there are other ways to do it.
Yes.
Councilor Shine?
Yes, first of all, I'm inclined to support this for similar reasons expressed by Councilors Lutke and Keene. However, I do have a number of questions about how this applies. So I think a business district to me seems fairly clear. Applying to, first of all, public roads, as I understand it, where the houses are less than 200 feet apart. Now, for typical 1 acre zoning, which may be, 200 by 200 roughly for a lot, and that's fairly typical, I think, around where I live. Would that be thickly settled or not? I mean, how would that be determined?
I would toss that right out to Chief Challies or Lieutenant Green. Who would be the best one to answer that? Chief. No, it's more of a legal question.
Good evening, Chief
Good evening,
Challis.
Chief.
I mean, the delineation of thickly settled, or the definition, is that it's less than 200 feet for a distance of a quarter mile or more. So we're eyeballing it, and it's basically a standard that's set. I mean, we're not out there posting the signs.
Right.
So we're going by what is posted as thickly settled.
Has it already been done, or is
Most of the signs are there.
Okay.
Yep, I'll let Dan.
Good evening, Dan Santos, Director of Public Works. So we don't have an inventory of these roads that are thickly settled. We would have to go out and do that. And we would do that by literally measuring between the structures and determining on a portion of a road or on a road whether that road is thickly settled. So part of what would be important would be to collect data to inform you about that status. I think that if I could offer some additional information that might help. Okay. Public Works is the department that has the jurisdiction and authority over the speed limits, setting the speed limits, posting, constructing the roads, repairing the roads, maintaining the roads. And we have 450 miles of roads in this town. So I'm not sure that one size fits all in this case. I think because road speeds, there's a lot that goes into it. And the speed limit, the sign, is probably the least of which, the least important aspect of that. So it's the road geometry, the road condition, the road, how it's designed. That's number one. That's going to determine speed. And people generally drive at the speed they're comfortable with. And that's why state speed limits are set based on what people actually drive, not what we desire them to drive, but what they actually drive. So it's important that you have that information, right? And so what becomes really important in controlling speed, you're trying to change behavior, right? That's the bottom line. If you want people that are speeding not to speed. So the most important things are there, and you mentioned it, is road configuration, enforcement, education, but none of these things are part of this proposal, so I'd be concerned about that. So I guess ultimately my recommendation, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes and not have the complete picture and the complete information to make a decision. This is a big decision. Like I said, we have 1,900 roads, 450 miles. So what I would recommend is that you all ask your town manager to have your public works department, your police department, and your planning department staff this, investigate it, research it. We've not done that. We have not been tasked with doing that. And to gather all the information, all the pros, the cons, the consequences, the costs, and present that to you, make a recommendation to you, then you can make an informed decision. Now, I don't say this is good or bad. I don't have a position. I'm just saying I don't think you have all the information, and I think you'd be best served if you did. And I don't know if the chief feels the same way.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
If I could just follow up.
Well, we go around, we'd everybody speak one time first, then we'll go around again. Any further discussion? Councilor Levesque?
Thank you, President Tamish. From what I've seen, and now it's been confirmed with Dan Santos, thank you, Director Santos, for that, and Chief Chalice read your letter. And so I've actually reached out to a former city manager of Worcester, and they did that, what you just talked about. They did an extensive, those things were in place beforehand, the outreach, different things like that. There was a plan in place before they went forward with it. I lived on Chute Flying Hill Road. I had 3 young boys living on Chute Flying Hill Road. I had to build basically a glorified playpen with fencing in my own little playground in my backyard to keep them away from Chute Flying Hill Road. And then I moved from Chute Flying Hill Road because I wanted my children to ride their bike. My experience would have been if there was a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign on Chute Flying Hill Road, I would still have put a playpen in my backyard because people would not pay attention to that. Now, I'm not saying, I actually think it's right. If we did this in certain areas, I think it would have this effect. I applaud the community members for getting involved and having this discussion, and I appreciate that. How necessarily it's been executed and not, I don't know why it necessarily hasn't. In my experience with bringing things to the department heads and my 8 years of being a counselor, I haven't got any resistance in regards to getting their help in regards to that. I've also reached out to Barnstable police officers who I know quite well, who have raised children in this town, and they have concerns about enforcement and just the way it is. It's not complete. It's incomplete. And as much as I want to see this go forth and I want to see children be safe and I want to be able to walk my dog on my private road that people speed on, that I have signs in my front. I'm the guy with the yellow slow down children in their front yard. I still think it's premature because we haven't done our due diligence fully with our police department, planning department, and again, why that has happened, I'm not casting blame. I'm just saying I think that needs to be done first. We need to have a plan in place and move forward with that, kind of echoing what Council Clark has said in regards, maybe it's committee. I actually don't know if we need a committee. I think we just need to empower our staff who are hired and are professionals in these areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Crocker?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would subscribe to the saying, do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I think what we could do here is to accept this and make these roads the 25 mile an hour default speed. But at the same time, ask the DPW to start the study. I think, as Councilor Keene said, maybe there is a psychological thing if we do reduce the speed limits. Maybe someone is going to slow down, and maybe someone doesn't get killed. So I think we should put this into effect as a default and study it, see what the effects are. Because I just don't see the sense of not doing it and saving someone's life. And I just don't see the difference.
Thank you. At this point, I would like to turn the gavel, so to speak, over to Vice President Clark, because I would like to address it. I think I'm going to be about as welcome as a skunk as a picnic in about 2 minutes here, but I have to say my piece. This is kind of like being against the flag, motherhood, and apple pie, I think. But I do oppose this. I think that I am opposing it not on personal bias, as it was reported at one point, but on 40-plus years of experience as a police officer. I don't think it matters what the posted speed limit is. You can make it 20 miles an hour, make it 10 miles an hour. Without enforcement, it's just a sign. That's all it is. And there may be a slight psychological effect, but the outliers are going to be speeding. And the outliers are the ones that we are concerned about. It's not the one that's going 30, 32, 35. It's the person who's going 40, 45, and 50. And those are the ones that you have to be concerned about. A couple of the speakers earlier mentioned Main Street, Centerville. I live just off of Main Street, Centerville. Main Street, Centerville was posted 25 miles an hour. I think Chief Chowers will probably tell you that one of the biggest complaints that they get regarding speeders is Main Street, Centerville, because the road is not conducive to a 25 mile an hour speed limit. Mr. Santos said that drivers tend to drive at a speed they're comfortable with. I think that's very, very, very true. Just look at Route 6. Route 6 is posted 55 miles an hour. How many of you can honestly say you go 55 miles an hour on Route 6? You don't, because Route 6 is not conducive to a 55 mile an hour speed limit. Why it's posted 50, I have no idea. Signs after a while just become background noise. We don't see them after a while. I have no doubt that Worcester or any other town, city had a reduction in their accident rate because you had increased enforcement, you had education. You know, the three parts of a traffic safety triangle, so to speak, are education, engineering, and enforcement. And we're not really getting into those three. We're talking about just changing a sign and hoping something is going to happen. I don't believe it will. You know, we've had a discussion, a lot of people that came up here tonight live on private streets, and they're hoping that this will help them. It won't. This does not apply on a on a private way. We have 1,098 private roads and streets. We have 702 townways. This would apply on public streets only, all right? Chapter 90, Section 17, and Chapter 90, Section 18 are the two sections of Massachusetts general law that deal with speeding motor vehicles. 9017 has to deal with the prima facie, or the, that if it's a thickly settled, it's 30 miles an hour. If it's more of an open area, it's 40, and highways are 50, school zones are 20. Those are all where they're listed. 9018 is where posted speed limits are enforced from. So 9017 in a thickly settled area requires that the police officer verify the speed that they're speeding for 1/8 of a mile. So you just can't sit there and say that he's speeding or that car's speeding. You have to verify that over 1/8 of a mile. On these side streets, that's very difficult to do because you've got to clock them for that 1/8 of a mile. You've got to have a sight line of them for 1/8 of a mile. I think this is a tremendous use of DPW resources and man hours for very little payback. I would heartily support speed cameras, as I talked about briefly before, and red light cameras. I was, when I was a sergeant, before we had a traffic division, I was basically in charge of the speed and alcohol patrols. I don't think anyone on the Barnstable Police Department in my day wrote more tickets than I did. I heartily believed in it. I still believe in it, but I just think this is the wrong way to go. Thank you. You're in charge.
For the rest of the meeting. Are there any more comments? Seth, sorry. Councilor Burdick.
Just one final parting comment. I just think that undertaking a sweeping code change of this nature without the advice of our departments is not a very responsible or prudent method for legislation. I mean, this may be the right thing to do, but I don't think that we should embark upon it without involving the people whose purview this is, the professional people we employ, who we rely on to do this job.
Councilor Crowe.
Someone mentioned, say, West Main Street. Is that considered a business district? Would that be a 25 mile an hour according to this?
I believe it would be, Chief.
And I assume we have state speed limits on 28. Is that correct? I'm looking at you, Dan. I'm sorry. Is that correct or not?
Yes, the state sets a speed limit.
Okay, so that road in, say, INO Road, is that a state road?
Yes.
Oh, 132 is not?
Yes, it is.
It is a state road, yeah. So they determine the speed limits on that. So I think the example of West Main, it's not a state road. So that'd be 25, and I can't imagine that being people adhering to that on that road. I'm just curious as to how this would work on some roads like that one, where I don't think the public would respect that speed limit. Although I believe Center Villages, Center Hyannis, which is a village in my opinion still, and these thickly settled are a different story. I think those would benefit from this, but I think those other roads are the ones we're going to hit a major question on from the public in that respect.
Okay. Attorney Nober is pointing out that this does not apply to state roads, school zones, and roads that have existing speed regulations. So. But they also pointed out that, and I think addresses this question directly, is that you have the ability to do this on a road-by-road basis. And as I said earlier, every road is different, and I think evaluating each road for these conditions, sight lines, distances, how tight it is, what the road width is, these things all go into that formula of what makes sense for a speed limit.
But that would only apply if we decided to send it to the town staff to do their research. If we pass this tonight, it would be 25
All the
miles on
roads,
West
yeah.
Main Street.
It would be townwide.
It'd be
Yes.
townwide.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Counselor Bloom?
I heard something earlier. I was wondering if somebody could straighten this out for me. If we vote no on this, then there are a lot of illicit signs out there that would be negated. What's that all about?
Excuse me. So there are a large number of 25-mile-per-hour signs across the town. They were here before I got here. I think they were here before Mark Ells was Public Works Director. I don't know how they got up, but at some point in the past, people asked or they got installed. So I don't have any information as to how that happened, but they're not enforceable. Now, most people that I've spoken to have just said, well, it doesn't hurt anything to have them there, right? If people are going to comply, they're going to drive slower, or they may or may not. But we've never undertaken to remove those. They're just not enforceable. But there are a lot of them, and I think if we would undertake this proposal, I think we would at that point have to address those, have to address the 30s. I think we'd have to look holistically at all our signage across the town to make sure it's consistent, so we're not confusing our residents and our visitors about what the speed limit is in the town of Barnstable.
Okay. So I'm wondering if we don't have enough information, if we should maybe postpone this whole thing for a while so that we can get more information. A lot of people, Councilor Levesque mentioned that we need some more information. I think Councilor Burdick would agree that we need more information. Can we do this? Can we postpone this? And can you gather information with other department heads and come back and give us more of a...
Yes, absolutely. As I suggested, I would recommend that the town manager be tasked by the council to thoroughly evaluate this proposal and come back with a recommendation from staff.
Okay, then would you like me to make a motion? Okay. Yes.
I just wanted to suggest, alternatively, you could withdraw this item and then separately direct staff to undertake the necessary work.
Would that be up to Councilor Lutke as the sponsor, or?
Actually, any counselor could make that motion because it's been read in. It's in the possession of the council at this point.
Okay.
Counselor Burdick? Table it means my understanding is tabling means you kill it. Is that
Basically. If you're postponing it indefinitely, you're killing it. So
we need to postpone to a date certain
if
or
you want to
withdraw it?
preserve the opportunity to take another look at it, I would recommend just withdrawing it.
All right. I would make a motion to withdraw the item.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, could you please take...
Well, you got a discussion on the motion?
Discussion.
Can I just say something?
Go ahead.
I would not like to see it withdrawn. People have come out, they're worried about their children, they're worried about their neighborhood, and other people driving through it. I don't know when they put this in, but I find when I was sitting on the other side, there's always a lot, we'll get to it, we'll get to it, we'll do this. Years later, it doesn't get to. There's a time that people need to act, and the time, I feel, is now.
Thank you,
Put up
Councilor
this
Deleuze.
sign, I don't care what you put up. If it's 10 miles an hour, they're not going to go 5. The point is, they feel better if it's done. And maybe it will work for them. We don't know.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So,
She said, did you hear it?
yes, not a debatable motion. Okay, so can we please take a vote, Madam Clerk?
Councilors, Deleuze,
I support it.
No, this is the motion to withdraw it. Do you support?
No, no, I don't support that.
okay. Keen,
No.
Levesque,
Yes.
Ludke,
No.
Penn,
Motion to withdraw, I support.
Scheingold, Starr,
Yes.
Timish,
Yes.
Bloom,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Crocker,
No.
Crow.
Yes.
Seven, 6, 8, 7,
8 to 5, it passes.
Okay, thank you. The motion does pass to withdraw. And I would like to just address the town manager. I believe he has the message that we will talk further about coming forward with a plan involving all the applicable departments.
Understood. We'll come back to you with a scope, a schedule, and a budget, and then we'll go from there once you understand the magnitude of what we've been asked to undertake.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this point, I would ask for a motion to refer items 2026-058 through 2026-061 as written to individual public hearings to be held on each item at the Town Council meeting on December 4th, 2025.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilors, Keen,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Ludke,
Yes.
Penn,
Yes,
Scheingold, Starr,
Yes.
Timish,
Yes.
Bloom,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Crocker,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Deleuze.
Abstain.
12 yes, 1.
Thank you. The motion does pass. At this point, I'd like to recognize Mark Ells regarding 2026-057.
Thank you. Good evening. Mark Ellis, Town Manager. I am withdrawing 2026-057. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Could I have a motion, please, on 2026-062? Counselor Bloom, I guess? Would that be you?
Two and three.
Okay,
To move ahead.
sure. If I could have consent to move both 2026-062 and 2026-063 to second readings on December 4th, 2025.
So moved.
Moved and seconded to
Second.
move both of them. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilors, Levesque,
Yes.
Ludke,
Yes.
Penn,
yes,
Scheingold,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Timish,
Yes.
Bloom,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Crocker,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Deleuze.
Yes.
Keen,
Yes.
13 yes.
Okay, the motion does pass. Could I have a motion, please, to move 2026-064 to a public hearing on 12/11/2025?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk?
Councilors, Ludke,
Yes.
Penn,
Yes.
Scheingold,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Tamish,
Yes.
Bloom,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Crocker,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Deleuze,
Yes.
Keene,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
13 yes.
Motion does pass. At this point, I would move to go into executive session pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, since a discussion in open session may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the town and town council. Specifically, the town council will discuss the lawsuit filed against the town in July 2024 by the Conservation Law Foundation, CLF, regarding claims under the Federal Clean Water Act, as well as the notice of intent to sue dated November 6, 2025, from CLF to the town regarding claims under state environmental laws, and pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, specifically the property located at 0, 167, and 177 Pleasant Street in Hyannis, since a discussion in open session may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the town and town council. The town council will not return to public session after the executive session. Do I have a second? Okay, motion made and seconded. Madam Clerk?
Counselors, Penn,
Yes.
Scheingold,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Tamish,
Yes.
Bloom,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Crocker,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Deleuze,
Yes.
Keene,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Ludke,
Yes.
13 yes.
The motion does pass. We will reconvene at 9:30 in the Selectmen's Conference Room.